You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
And the Lions are moving. First down and 10. Quick slam popped into the air and intercepted. And Jayden Daniels starts running the other way on third down. Fires to Miller. He is open. Touchdown Raiders. Set to the end zone, into double coverage, touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. over the outstretched arms of Darian Porter. And on third and goal, Mills throws to the end zone. Jump ball going to get it. It's Jared Wayne, and the Texans have their first touchdown of the 2026 preseason. On first down and 10, Lance throws, and this time it's intercepted. The pick and room to run. Kamari Ramsey out of bounds near midfield.
Sings it over the middle. Has Weegan is going to turn on his feet. Jayden Weegan is on his way. Will he get caught? Turns it on extra. 10-5 down to the 2-yard line.
Mendoza, quick throw. It's caught. The Mandalorian with his first Raider touchdown, and it goes to Danvers.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Mail Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ, and I think we're wondering the same thing here.
Timeout.
Who the F is the Mandalorian?
Shane. They cannot be calling him the Mandalorian already.
Why not?
Because the movie sucked, first and foremost.
Whoa, spoilers.
Good point. Star Wars movie comes out, and who here saw it? Did you see it, Shane?
I did not see it.
Okay.
I have no desire to see it.
Brandon's a movie guy. Brandon, did you see The Mandalorian Grogu?
Absolutely not.
See, you didn't see it.
I'm a Star Wars guy and a movie guy, and I didn't see it.
And
I'm a Mandalorian guy. I
Yes.
liked the series.
Is there anyone less Mandalorian than Fernando Mendoza?
Yeah, just zero aura on that guy.
Yeah. The nicest quarterback in the entire We're just freaking excited to be here. I can't believe we sent Miami back to hell. Right where they deserve. It's a little Mickey Mouse.
Why do you sound like Mickey Mouse? Hey, Shane, I do have a very important question for you, though.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. What do you got?
What do you think about Fernando Mendoza?
He's okay.
At least we have an answer this time.
He's just okay. That's it?
I'm just going by what you said there.
How much of
You can't call him the Mandalorian yet.
What quarterback comes into the league and already has a nickname?
You just can't just be trying things on in the preseason. You
Did
know
they
what
even
I mean?
give did Cordell Stewart have Slash before he came in?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
I think
either.
that came later because he didn't play wide receiver in college. He was just the quarterback.
Are there a lot of quarterbacks that get nicknames? Or am I just blank spacing right now?
The Pastronaut.
Taylor Swift.
Excuse me, the Pastronaut?
What is that?
That was Joshua Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, yeah.
No, it wasn't.
You also can't be the fourth string quarterback and have a great nickname. Pastronaut rocks. Okay, that's fine. You be a starter, please.
You cannot be like, hey, they picked me up because their backup got hurt. Like that's Joshua Dobbs' career. It's like backup got hurt. Josh Dobbs here to the rescue.
Yeah, Pastronaut. That's fine. That's cool, right?
More like I don't know. Something about a clipboard would work with Josh Dobbs. Like just maybe call him the substitute. Just haven't got the clipboard all day. You could call him this doesn't matter to kids anymore. But back in the you call him the rolling TV. That's when you know you have a substitute.
No, I had a rolling TV back
Did
in the day.
you?
Yeah,
Oh.
elementary school rolling TV.
Well,
yeah.
it's because you're out in Western Nebraska. The technology didn't quite catch up yet.
You know, they are just getting to Google Chromebooks and stuff. They just passed that.
That was the best. I realize now, usually, I'm sure my teacher was just hungover.
Yeah.
Like whenever they're rolling the TV in.
Yeah.
Because first of all, and listen, we love our teachers. Shout out to you. I could not do that job. Yeah. Teachers drink a lot. Like as a whole, like as a group of people.
They drink a lot?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I would say like salespeople.
Yeah.
Then teachers. That would be my hierarchy. See, Brandon knows.
See, I'm not going to.
Yeah. I'm not dogging. I'm just saying like it's a fact.
I'm saying I'm not going to dox anybody. But I do know those first years, once you get done with your college and you're immediately a teacher, the amount of young teachers that are likely hungover entering work,
they be drinking.
That has to be one of the worst experiences. Imagine being like an elementary or a middle school teacher and you're hungover for 8 hours.
No, absolutely not.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
3 p.m. can't come soon enough. Also, was that a child?
I'll say, was that Rico?
That's Rico. That's 100% Rico.
Sorry, I went to say something and then Miles was whining. I know quite a few teachers, and I don't think many of them drink as heavily as you guys are implying.
Not gonna.
Good contribution.
Much easier to be mean to him when he's not here.
It's never stopped me. No, like not every teacher I know, but there's salespeople that are sober also, but as a career field, I would say nurses get after it. Nurses get after it.
So you're asking what is the drunkest career
it's
field you could
definitely
have?
salespeople. We're talking after salespeople.
So madmen? No, they're advertisers, right?
That's also 70 years.
I would say service industry is the drunkest.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's right.
So the
You're
unfortunate
right.
part, I haven't had too many opportunities to mix career paths. That's we might have lost something from the board. Might have to do a quick reset here. So, is it back?
We're good. Anyway, no. So, so Brandon's right. Service industry, so restaurant industry people is probably number one. Although I will,
Back, by the way. Thank goodness.
I will say, salespeople are we do not appreciate how much salespeople drink. They drink while working as well. That's part. You take people never working as whatever. It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I do think teachers and nurses are up there. I really do. I don't know after that, but those would be my top. And then lawyers. That's DKs.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Double T. Shane, take us to a break. We got to reset the board quick. Sounds like the stream's getting a little bit of bad audio here.
All right, we'll be right back. More Sports Live, maybe.
We'll find out.
We'll see.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, I was definitely following the news. I had talks with Danny a lot, and we're going day by day, but whatever happens. But I think whatever is best for anyone, I'm going to be happy with. So, yeah, I'm excited because, redshirting was the goal, but then I wouldn't be able to play, and I think getting reps, even if it's just a little bit in games, it will help too. Just boost my confidence on the court too, and I'm excited.
they're such a good program and they have a good team every single year. They're very consistent. Obviously, the last time we played them, it didn't go our way, and that's okay. That's sports. But
I grew up in the Big 12 and played here in the Big 12, and so that Texas rivalry runs pretty deep. And
I think just opening the season with such a strong team in a game against such a strong team is going to be super exciting, not only for us but for the fans as well. Like, people want to see great matchups, they want to see good volleyball, and so getting to do that, especially at such a big venue, I think it's super exciting.
I thought it was a great call by both myself and Jarrett to renew that and showcase the sport even more. And they have everybody returning. We have most everybody returning, so it should be a really fun match.
Texas has like a bunch of amazing players, and it's going to be a great game for sure.
Let's try this again. Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live.
Run it back.
That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. And apparently I've pissed everyone off in their various industries for saying they drink. Listen, I'm not saying everybody drinks.
Are you suggesting the teachers took us down?
It's possible. The teachers may have sabotaged us. Listen, I love teachers. Most teachers.
Whoa.
And my ex-wife was a teacher, so.
All right. Well, I'm glad you came back hot and ready.
But I've been in sales, you know, so I know multiple, I feel pretty confident about the industries I've labeled as heavy drinkers.
Okay.
It's usually high stress jobs.
Do you think that there's some like underrated ones that we're not considering?
I think teachers is underrated. I don't think people would think of teachers as like heavy drinking, but like those people get after it.
So when we're talking like heavy drinking, we don't mean like on the job or anything like that. You're talking just in social settings, they go harder than most.
After work, they're like, man, I need one to wind down.
You're completely right, I think, because most of the people that I hang out with now as an adult whose careers, you know, whenever I see them in social settings like weddings or bachelor parties, that sort of stuff, those are the people I'm the most worried about because they are just like, I can't do anything fun ever. Yeah. So this is my one time to just completely let loose.
Yeah, exactly. You just like
members of the media.
I think media is like
I think media is pretty tame. I think that they enjoy like drinking together, but I don't know that they are.
Here's what I will say
take
about
your tie off and wrap it around your head.
Here's what I will say about media. Nobody will crush free food like media.
Oh my God.
Like it is.
You ever been to state basketball?
It is obscene. And listen, it doesn't have to be good food. You could put out cardboard with cheese on there and media would be like, oh, free pizza.
Listen, I'll tell you what, state basketball with all of the little radio stations and everything that show up, it's not just a grazing field. I mean, that is just completely mowed over. Like, you know, those videos of the goats that go to yards and clean up? That's what it looks like at state basketball when they just have all of the small little radio station guys that come in. Every single food line is just taken care of.
Robbie says law enforcement. I think law enforcement off duty, they'll get after it a little bit. I think it's high stress jobs in general.
Yeah. I guess my dad didn't, but
yeah, I do think it's a high stress job thing that people will get after. They kind of unwind a little bit that way.
Did you mention construction?
Oh, that's a good one. Like manual labor in general, I think. Yeah,
there's a difference between jobs that you generally have a beer after and people that are just like they're drinking.
They're like getting after.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking about salespeople, they're doing like double scotch on the rocks. Like they're getting after it, right?
Right.
On a pretty regular basis. Whereas I feel like construction, manual labor, it's like, crack a beer or two after work.
Because they're tired.
Yeah, they got to wake up at 4 a.m. again.
Right, yeah.
Part of it, so with service industry, part of it's you're up so late and it's kind of a high adrenaline job. And then you're trying to like wind down so you can go to sleep. But then a lot of them, especially if you work at a normal restaurant, you don't have to go back to work until like 4.
That is true, yeah.
So the hours are they lend themselves to a drinking lifestyle.
That's a good point.
That's a good argument. Putting it out there. Yeah. Hot Danger says doctors even more than I know doctor like healthcare in general. I think gets after it. I think healthcare in general gets after it. Maybe not.
Yeah, I was just gonna say not the people that I know too regularly. Like even Dr. Fiance's like med school friends and all those people. Like when we were hanging out with them. Yeah, I don't know. I have some friends from college that are now in healthcare fields and such, and I knew them as partiers then, and I still, drink and stuff with them now socially, but just not the same.
Todd says podcast producer. We have driven Shane to drinking, I'm sure.
That is probably true.
Every time the internet goes out, I take a drink.
Wow.
I'm pretty hammered.
7:10 a.m. What's your drink of choice? Squirt?
You've been wasted this week.
And last.
Kobe says I'd rather elevate in the clouds than drink NGL.
Wow. Nobody drinks more than podcast hosts. Maybe. Potentially. Who knows?
I mean, maybe.
Hey, it's Millard North Day, by the way.
That's right. We got the hat on.
Mm-hmm. Got softball camp confidential.
Let's go.
Sautter will be at football later today.
State runner up,
And you said that I don't want to be there. You just heading out of town. It's kind of interesting.
Where?
From Millard North. You don't want to go to Millard North today, is what you said.
I was at Millard North earlier this week.
Oh, how'd that go?
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Talked to Principal Behringer. It was lovely.
Yeah.
It was terrific.
Did they have you do like the convocation where all the students are back in, so you bring them back?
No.
Not commencement. Commencement is the wrapping up.
No, convocation. I thought like church for convocation
that too.
for some reason.
Am I using the wrong term?
Maybe. I was like, that's a public school though. I don't know.
Who's going to correct me? See, when Damon sat here, I always corrected him, but no one's back there to correct me now. So
he is completely unchecked.
Yeah.
No, it was good. I went up there to get some gear for my nieces and nephews that are.
Oh, nice. That's right. Yeah.
Entering the great realm of Millard North, the Millard North sphere.
Do they have are these tiny little baby nieces and nephews,
no,
or are these
one of
like
them
they're
is
entering
going to
high
be
school?
in high school? The
Okay.
other two are going to be at Millard North Middle.
What'd you get them?
Some hoodies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got some
That's a good
hoodies.
move, yeah.
I might have picked myself up a couple things
Naturally.
as well. I mean, listen.
Now, did they give you the Ravi Lulla discount?
I think there may have been a discount.
That rocks. That rocks.
I think there may have been a discount.
See, it's
I
very
was sort
funny.
of like adding up the totals in my head, and then he told me, and I was like, okay.
I get sometimes I'll have Shadron State's one of them because a former associate AD at UNK now is the AD at Shadron State. So when we went for volleyball, he was like, I'm going to send you some Shadron State stuff. And I sent him the Hurrdat address, and I checked in with the person who runs kind of our office, and I was like, hey, package should be coming.
You did not.
It's never showed up.
That's tough.
And then I've had a couple of other people that have reached out to me. They're like, hey, we're going to send you some stuff. It's going to be there. And it's never showed up. So I'm actually, is it worse that I'm quicker to blame my coworkers to say it's your fault that it's not here?
That they stole it?
Yes. I think that they took it. My name should be on that box and it's not here.
I feel like maybe.
You think it was the people who sent the stuff? You didn't think it never got sent?
That didn't send it, yeah.
I wasn't going to wear Shadron State stuff anyway. Sorry, Manny. Wasn't going to ever happen. It's just a weird color. Like the maroon. The maroon doesn't fit. It's
I don't mind a maroon. I do think because it's like maroon and like black, isn't it? Like it's kind of a weird combo.
They'll sometimes use, I think, silver in there too. So
is it the Eagles?
Yeah, Shadron State Eagles.
Look at that. Look at me knowing stuff.
Shadron High School. You know that?
Not a clue.
Cardinals.
Didn't even know they had a high school.
Yeah. What? There's a college in the town. What do you mean? Of course there. Well, I shouldn't say that because I don't know. I don't think there's a Peru high school.
I was going to say, is there a Peru high?
My bad.
Peru State High School?
My bad. That's on me. That's on me.
No, it was. I think I will say, Principal Behringer over at Millard North. Every time he said he was going to get me something, he has gotten it to me. So
God, that must be nice.
It is.
My hometown school is too far away. They would be putting out smoke signals. They're like, "Do you wear large?"
Yeah, you get.
I can't see.
3 to 4 business months.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to schedule a preview football interview with the Sydney coach.
Yeah,
and we're exchanging emails. And he's like, okay, 2 p.m. today. And I was like, okay, just to be clear.
Wait, Mountain
or Central? And I still haven't heard back, so I'm going to be available at multiple times.
I will say I am sort of angling at some point. I know I'm not there yet, but I'm putting the groundwork in. I would like to maybe to be maybe considered for the Millard North Hall of Fame at some point.
I am. Do you see me tweeting at UNK constantly, trying to get into their Hall of Fame? So this is a bit I started a while ago that they renamed one of the buildings on campus to the newly retired chancellor.
Yeah.
And I put my face over it and I rewrote the building name to like the Austin Jacobsen, whatever, Academic Success Center.
Yeah.
And UNK did not acknowledge it at all, which is totally fine. They shouldn't. But then when they opened it up, they put a new post out, and one of my friends put in the comments, they were like, I thought this was the Austin Jacobsen Academic Success Center. UNK replied and was like, didn't he already rename it himself? So now I'm doing whatever I can. I got to get into Hall of Fames. I want to be a distinguished alum. I want to do all that stuff.
I mean, listen, so I was, I've been to a couple of, I had one of my friend's dads was a teacher at Miller North for a long time, was their PA announcer. So I've been to some of the football games where they honor the Hall of Famers. And I'll be honest, like, I think, give me like 10 more years. I think I'll have the credentials.
Oh, 10?
Maybe not that long. I don't know. Some of the Hall of Famers.
Do you know if there's a timeline, like how long you have to be out of school?
No, I think it's, I think I'm on the young end based on what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, same.
Usually it's like, it was people in their 40s, so maybe like 5 more years.
Is Crouch in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, they named a street after him.
I was going to say.
They literally named part of 144th Street after him.
You can't beat Crouch.
No, but there's a
street first, Hall of Fame after.
There's a very wide variety of people in the Miller North Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Like you have Eric Crouch, is like Heisman winner, right? But then you also have like, this guy became a really good doctor.
Okay, good argument.
But I think because I'm a very public advocate for Miller North.
Good point.
That maybe I've got a shot. That's sort of what I'm angling for.
See, I don't know if this isn't your hierarchy, but for me, I would love to also be put into a Sydney Hall of Fame if possible. I don't think that they have that. To my knowledge, they don't. I'm angling for Key to the City.
Oh,
that's what I'm angling
there you
for.
Go.
So I don't know how many more big game chains I've got to give away to get there, but by my math, I think I'm like 6 away. So I'm just so I'm going to be very aggressive mid-October.
Yeah,
saying, "Where's my key? I need my key to the city." I'll be back. I'll be back first weekend of October, and the Oktoberfest parade is there. Great time for me to get my key if possible. And to my knowledge, I don't think a key to the city's been given away.
So you don't have to have been an athlete at Miller North. And I did win several awards as the sports editor of the Miller North newspaper. And now I'm in media. So I was like, there is a path.
And you're also second in the Nebraska Cornhusker games.
That's
so
true.
You kind of are an athlete.
Well, I mean, I didn't play tennis at Miller North or anything. So
next time that you plan on winning the Nebraska Cornhusker games and beating up old men,
Would
send our video team out there, make a sick edit of it, and wear only Miller North gear, and then be like, I do it for home.
Roll Stangs, baby.
I do it for the Stang. And then you're in, I think. Now, are you worried that others that aren't in the Hall of Fame yet, that probably deserve it or have bigger names than you, should go in ahead of you? Are you worried about being like pushed back? Are you worried about Roger Craiging this, where you might like not get your shine until 40 years from now?
No, that's what the campaign is for.
Okay.
You know, that's why we're actively campaigning, getting a lot of FaceTime with the
If you
principal.
go in before Hunter Salas, is that a bad thing?
That's probably a bad look. I didn't play in the NBA.
Okay.
I also did not play. I mean, I did play in college, but not well or anywhere anyone has heard of.
Jason Green?
See, here's the problem, though, is you can't put every Division I athlete.
Yeah, so is it a Miller North Achievement Award, or is it a what you did out after Miller North?
So it's a combination of both.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like what you did at Miller North. It is more like alums or people who have contributed. Like my friend's dad taught at Miller North, but I didn't go there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what have you contributed to Miller North?
Okay.
And I feel like I'm the most positive public face of Miller North.
You know, when you say that, we're both pretty good advocates. I think we're making really good arguments for why we deserve the recognition from our like prospective communities.
Trying to get in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe you teach a little bit.
No, I'm not going to teach.
Everyone can't talk at the same time.
I'm not going to teach at all.
So Brandon said teach. Rico, is your kid yelling at you?
Your turn.
No, I would say Austin also has his honorable mention.
I do.
I
do have my honorable mention. People forget. Telling Kenny that story was the greatest thing ever. He goes,
his face was hilarious.
Kenny goes, oh, so coaches can just lie on max preps? Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
They're just self-reporting stats.
There was a kid, I was looking through stats on like one of the 8-man, and there was a kid who got 160 tackles last season in 8 games. No, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how I know that? You probably didn't stop every single player that came across, but sure, man, whatever.
I was going to say, there may not have been 160 tackles all year.
Listen, if you only played
for
8
the
games,
entire team.
You only played 8 games and 32 teams make the postseason. I don't think you're making 160 tackles. What about that?
We don't know. There's no tape.
There's simply no way to find out.
It's like the Wilt 100-point game. You just have to take their word for it.
We burned the tape after the season. It wasn't for you. It wasn't for us. It wasn't our year.
It's not for public consumption. I mean, listen, I'm just saying, I won a lot of newspaper awards. I
think it's worth the argument.
I fully understand. I'll probably never get in, but I am I'll continue to advocate for it.
This is our personal goal by the end of the year. Hey, you want to race?
Yeah.
You want to race to see who gets into their school's Hall of Fame first?
I need you guys to make campaign videos for this.
Rico, why aren't you in the Bellevue West Hall of Fame?
Never won state.
Lost to Josh Banderas.
Yeah, 2-time runner-up. A lot of medals at a lot of other meets, but at state, just silver. Unfortunately,
exotic meets.
A lot of meets.
Nope, not exotic meets. They were all in Omaha.
Oh, okay.
Except for Kearney in South Dakota. Do you have a pass to get into any sporting event at UNK?
Do I have a pass?
Yeah.
Yes, it's called a media pass. What kind of dumb question was that, buddy?
I have one directly from the athletic department, but that's fine.
Oh, from the now defunct athletic director who has left and went to rival school?
No, his name's not on there.
Interesting.
Amazing Daniel says there's a now defunct bar in Omaha whose bathroom was named after me in the late 90s. Is that anything?
Oh, that's incredibly interesting.
The Amazing Daniel honorable stall or honorary stall.
Is that one where you have to scratch your name into the side of it? Who does that, by the way? Who's scratching their name and Sharpieing and leaving graffiti all over the bathroom?
Listen,
that's not who. What people of society are doing that?
I understand in certain places, like in a school, kids are doing it, right?
Yes.
And that sort of makes sense.
They don't know better. They're
in
kids.
A bar, I'm like, what adult is doing this?
Also, why do you have a Sharpie on you?
Yeah, and why are you carving stuff into walls?
I agree. Now, I will say there's a bar in Roca, which I know you don't know where Roca is, but
Scott says the Amazing Daniel Poop Palace.
That's great. But there's a bar in Roca where on the ceiling, people have written their phone numbers and their name.
Yeah.
And I find it incredibly interesting because, again, this is a bar in Roca. So how unique can those numbers actually be? These are all people They're likely your neighbors, right? So you're just giving away your information to no one. The thrill is not really there.
Yeah,
correct.
No, there's too much overlap there.
It'd be different if I'm in St. Petersburg and I'm writing my name up in the rafters.
Mom, is that you? What?
Yeah.
Where's your number on the stall?
Speaking of which, I didn't know that this was as big of a problem as it is. But when I go somewhere in Omaha, so hairstylist, or I'm setting up an appointment, and you meet with the secretary at the counter, and they're like, "Oh, what's the number I can put down for whatever?" I always say 308, and they're like, "Where are you from?" There's 2 codes.
There's
people
3.
can be from other. There's 3.
Yeah, 531 is now a second Omaha code.
What was the other one?
531.
Oh, that's news to me. That's news to me.
All the area codes.
I'd like to thank Nebraska for all the area codes. But no, I say 308 and they act like, "Oh my God, where are you from?" I'm from here.
You're not from here.
Okay.
You're from out there.
See, it is wild. Omaha's the only place that I've been to in Nebraska where you can say, "Oh, I'm from Nebraska," and they're like, "Okay, but are you from Omaha?"
But where are you from?
Yeah. So I could say literally anywhere else. And if I say I'm from Nebraska and I'm in Pierce, they'd be like, "Oh, where?"
Yeah,
"Oh,
what part of
Sydney."
Nebraska?
And then they go, "Oh." So what can you do? Can't win.
We were talking about nicknames earlier with the Mandalorian.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we did start with that, didn't we?
Somebody sent me on Twitter. I believe it was Bruin Steve.
Hi, Bruin.
Who also tweeted us he received a state honor. Good for you, Bruin Steve.
Nice job, Bruin Steve.
He sent me a list of NFL player nicknames. We do have a couple quarterbacks on here. And here's the funny thing about internet lists of nicknames is most of these I've never heard in my life before. I don't know if you've ever been on Basketball Reference, but it will give you nicknames of people. It's no one's ever called that person that ever. You made that up for this
right,
page.
Yeah.
We've got a few of those here.
Let's hear it.
So Antonio Brown, I know he's not a quarterback, but this is all NFL players.
What was Antonio Brown's? Cold feet?
So AB, we've heard that one,
Oh,
right?
okay. That's
No, I
not a
don't-
nickname.
Okay, but
Yeah.
so the second one is Mr. Big Chest. I have no idea.
There's no way
That's on that's on here. And then
it's my stripper name, actually.
Tony Toe Tap.
I have heard Tony Toe Tap. I've heard Tony
Okay,
Toe Tap,
okay.
yes. Because remember, he would always do the toe drags and stuff, and I think he called himself that, which again is not a nickname you give yourself is not a nickname.
Also called, apparently, the citation here says he also called himself, called me Mr. Big Chest. I have no idea what that means. All right, so Air McNair, I know that one.
Air
I've heard
McNair,
that.
that's Steve McNair. Yeah,
That's a real
fair.
one.
That's a good one. And other people called him that. He
yes.
was referenced as that.
And
yes.
it was given to him. It wasn't.
Okay. Aaron McNair is the lone exception that I've heard so far for quarterbacks.
So Lamar Jackson has Action Jackson.
Sure.
I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't really, people don't really refer to him as that.
I agree.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, I've got the Amish Rifle.
That's a new one. I have not yet heard that.
Funny.
Yeah.
I don't think he's Amish, but I get with the beard and
Right,
everything.
yeah.
You know, that's funny. I've heard Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, right?
Red Rifle, yes.
Yeah.
Red Rifle is good. I like the Red Rifle. I don't know if he likes that, but not up to him to decide.
Yeah,
so.
again, famously, you don't get to decide your own nickname.
Kenny, good one. Pot roast. Pot roast is a good one.
Yeah.
Terrence Knighton.
We love Terrence.
You love pot roast.
What was the pork chop? Corey Ross?
Oh yeah, pork chop's a good one.
Pork chop.
But I think there's been a lot of pork chops.
Probably.
Only one pot roast though.
Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode.
Beast Mode is
that's
good.
a real one. Cam Chancellor, Bam Bam.
Oh yeah, Bam Bam Cam.
That was a real thing.
Cam Bam.
Let's see. Big Ben for Ben Roethlisberger. I guess that counts.
Yeah. But see, that's more in reference to like not only his size and stature, but also like
just his name.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't remember this one. Anthony Dixon apparently was nicknamed Booby. As apparently like Booby Miles from Friday Night Lights.
Okay.
I don't recall that one at all.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw, the Blonde Bomber.
Before my time. Don't know anything about that. I'm sure he was.
Sounds like he was in Playboy or something.
Could be it.
Let's see. Broadway Joe Namath. That was
Broadway Joe's a great
famous
one. Yeah, that's a great one.
So what I'm learning
The
here
muscle
is that-
hamster.
That's Doug Martin.
No,
we're talking quarterbacks, but yeah.
I mean, we're talking lots of people. Who else we got? Oh, Cadillac Williams, Carnell Williams. That's a good one.
Megatron is one of the best.
That's an iconic name.
Megatron is one of the best. Yes,
you could just say Megatron. Everyone knows who you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
Which
Does
is not
Cam Newton's Superman count? Considering a lot of athletes take that nickname.
No,
I don't know if they. So it always felt like when they were calling Cam Superman that it was more in like reference to the play, not the player. If that made sense.
Also, like I know he did like the chest thing or whatever. It sort of feels self-glossed.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
You're losing me.
I kind of felt like he was doing it himself.
He was glazing his own donut.
He was glazing his own donut. He's like, here's a nice donut. I'm going to put some glaze on it.
We will not respect Cam slander in this.
I'm not
How dare you.
slandering. Like
Yes, you did. You just said. You said he was glazing his own donut live on national television.
Glaze my own donut.
Great bit.
CJ2K.
CJ2K is a good one.
That's a good nickname.
But it's also like, it's most the direct one. It's initials and yards you gained.
Yeah, it's initials and the only thing we know you.
But it sounds sick.
It is.
CJ2K rocks.
Kirk Cousins, we have Captain Kirk. I don't know that I've ever heard him called
I
that.
have heard that, but
he has
I like
two.
Kirk
He has
Chains.
two
Yeah,
nicknames.
Kirk Chains is much better.
Yeah, Kirko Chains. That's bad.
Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. That's a good one.
Danny Dimes is good, but
I wish he was better.
Yes, exactly.
Like
yes.
it's a great nickname for a mediocre player.
Right,
Like
yeah,
I need like if for a nickname like Danny Dimes, it would be great if he was actually good at football.
Yes.
That'd be incredible. But
Deion Sanders Primetime. I love Primetime.
Primetime's a good nickname.
Yeah, and now that he just goes by Prime, now the Coach Prime's a bit much, but Prime is cool.
The wild thing is like that's how they refer to him on the website. It's just Coach Prime. It's like maybe we're doing a little too much.
That
here,
is a
but
little too much.
That also
You will refer to me as Prime.
I think Primetime might be self-given.
Maybe. But he was cool enough that everyone was like, yeah, no,
Well,
that's
so
sick.
that's the major question
Yeah.
with like a Black Mamba situation.
Ooh.
Because that was a self-given nickname.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, but it became part of like everybody else referring to him
yes,
as such.
but like it started, I'm pretty sure he came up with that own
Now
nickname.
you've put me in a pretzel. This
which is tough.
Yeah, it's
Because I'm
very
a big
tough.
Kobe guy, but like that's tough.
Yeah. Oh man, that's tough.
Because
Okay.
I remember thinking at the time, because it was about the same time that he started doing that weird face, the like face. Do you remember
Okay.
that?
No, I do not.
Have
I
you-
thought that was just him.
No, that was like halfway through his career. He started going like,
Oh.
That did not exist in early Kobe. Like in Mini Fro Kobe, that wasn't a thing.
Mini Fro Kobe. Okay.
Mini Fro Kobe was my favorite Kobe. I love Mini Fro Kobe.
That was like end of Shaq.
Yeah,
a
that
little
was
post Shaq, right?
Yeah,
also the jersey biting phase.
Yeah, he'd like.
Maybe that's when the Black Mamba came out.
Yeah, he do the song.
Shoelace. Were you a Shoelace fan?
Denard Robinson.
Yeah.
It felt like we were kind of trying too hard there.
Okay. All right.
Like it's like, oh, he doesn't tie his shoelaces. Let's call him Shoelace. It's like it felt like one of those like football movies where it's like, we're gonna call you this because you do this all the time. And it's like that's not an organic nickname.
The Express.
The Express is a good nickname.
I like the Express.
The Express is a good nickname.
Who's the? It's really. Geez, I'm trying to remember. Super old. Night Train Lane.
Oh, Night Train Lane's an incredible one.
And like again, we never watched him play.
Yeah.
He actually played. Do you know where he went to college? You're not going to get this. He went to WNCC in Scottsbluff.
Okay.
Can you believe that? Isn't that insane? That is the craziest stat you've ever heard in your life, right?
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
A Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks of his generation, Dick Night Train Lane, went to WNCC.
Dick Night Train Lane.
Yeah.
I'm verifying this because
please. Amazing Daniel's going to come up and be like, you just getting got by TikTok again.
I'll say he's not a quarterback.
No. Corner.
Okay.
Cornerback, yeah.
Corner. Let's see. Where did we go to school? Dick Night Train Lane. It just says Scotts Bluff. So yeah, it was renamed, I'm sure, after that. Wow.
I wonder what it was called back then. But
it says just Scotts Bluff.
Just Scotts Bluff College?
Yeah.
Does Scotts Bluff have anything named after him?
I mean, Scotts Bluff.
It redirects to Western Nebraska
after
college.
Yeah,
it was originally Scotts Bluffs Junior College.
See, told you.
Wow.
WNCC. Can you believe that?
It used to be an extension of the University of Nebraska system at the time.
Isn't that crazy?
It is no longer.
Yeah. Of course, that was like the 50s or late 40s or whatever that was, but still, just incredible.
1947.
Incredible.
I had no idea.
Yeah. You learn something new every day.
Do you know the fourth institution?
Oh, now we're just saying facts.
Of the University of Nebraska college system?
Yeah. Nebraska, the Curtis campus, the NCTA. Yeah, there we go. See,
also the location of my career.
You didn't think I would know NCTA?
Also the location of my career high in basketball.
Listen, if you're hooping in Curtis, you can hoop anywhere. That's what people say. The lights have never been brighter than in Curtis.
My favorite part about playing NCTA is they didn't belong to like any organizing body. Mm-hmm. They just sort of existed like an intramural team.
We play basketball.
But because they didn't belong to any organizing body, they would have guys that played there for like 8 years. There was this dude, I can see his face still. He was number 35. From the time I was a freshman to like halfway through my coaching career, he was always at NCTA.
Who coaches that team?
I think he did by the end. I think he was player coaching.
Oh, you just Jackie Moon? That's all that it was?
Basically, like it was incredible. He had to have been in his mid-30s by the time this was over. Like the hairline was just sprinting backwards. He had the goatee. It looked like he had come into the gym with overalls on. It was incredible. That's my favorite part about NCTA.
NCTA, I'm sure that there are just some
they just live
stories.
Oh man, it felt like the Hoosiers gym walking in there. It was wild.
But not in a good way. Not in like the like the nostalgia, like, oh, this gym has so many stories to tell. More like this is the basketball gym.
Yeah, I was like, this might have separate bathrooms type of gym. That's the vibe. I'm not saying anything about the people of Curtis, Nebraska.
Why would you say that about Curtis?
No, that's just the vibe the gym gave off. Not the people of Curtis. They were lovely. They were lovely. We did get out of there as fast as possible, but
it is very funny. I don't know if NCTA has like a chance or anything, but you got to imagine when, the Chancellor of UNK, of Lincoln, of Omaha all get together, and then Curtis shows up. They're like, whoa, hey.
He comes up and is like, we are equals.
He's just wearing overalls. And he's like that kid from what is it? Like geez, I'm gonna ruin this. Never mind. I'm gonna move on. Y'all getting paid? That's what I was gonna say. That's him. The Curtis guy.
You were only gonna give me $30,000? You're only gonna give me 10? You guys are getting paid?
That's exactly 100%. That's exactly the Curtis guy just walking up.
He thought it was like a volunteer fire chief position.
I gotta meet who? I gotta go where? Sorry, I got corn home. It's harvest season. You guys talking about?
It's like we gotta wrap this up.
Let's get this over with. Before we get too far away, I don't know if you want to take a break or if you want to roll into it, but
yeah.
I did want to talk a little bit about Jayden Daniels and Deion. I wanted to ask you which was a bigger deal to you, if at all.
I don't think I know about the Deion thing.
Oh, the Colorado stuff.
Did I miss something? What Colorado stuff?
Let's take a break.
All right. I need to be informed apparently during the
take
break.
A break. Yeah.
That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll apparently talk about something I have no knowledge of coming up next.
You have knowledge of it. You have. You're going to come back and be like, I was dumb. I just forgot.
We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live.
I've known Harper since I was like 12, so we've definitely been able to build a bond for a while, but she's been amazing and she's one of my best friends here, and I think it's really cool to see us go from her being one of my idols to now one of my best friends here, and she's been a huge person that I can lean on. She's been amazing. She's definitely taken me under her wing. Yeah, I think it's so cool seeing how much she's grown since she's gotten here. It's like, I don't know, I'm so proud of her. You know, she's done a lot since she's been here, and she's definitely changed women's sports, and I think that that's super cool, and it's not easy to do, and it's not easy to be in the spotlight like she is, so I think that's super cool, and I admire her so much.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
I had anticipated that several months ago because I still follow college sports and I'm following what's going on. And so what we decided to do, instead of waiting for the draft to count on a couple players, and again, we'd have a shot at a couple great players, especially from Nebraska, we better fill our roster and then we'll go from there. Again, in pros, what's different in college, you can cut players, you know, so you can adjust rosters a lot easier than in college. So what's going to happen is a lot of these guys, they're not going to decide till the end of the year. And then the colleges are going to have to decide, you know, can we fund and continue to pay them with NIL because we got all these other freshmen coming in. So Danny's going to be losing sleep, for example, over, you know, do I keep that senior class? You know, how are we going to manage this roster? And there are roster limits now in college. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens, but we really can't count on the draft this year because it's, you know, and again, we're going to have a low draft number. So we're going to just have to wait and see, and again, be ready to adjust when that draft happens.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Austin, you were right. I did know what you were talking about.
I see. You just needed a little nudge.
I did. I needed a little, just push in the right direction. Reset your question for me.
So my question for you is I think that there's two, at least in my sphere of where I'm getting just like different push notifications and things that pop up on my timeline. There are two different categories of people making fun of two different situations that are going on in football. One is Jayden Daniels and this number controversy and all the, hoopla that's happening there with him and LSU. And then there's this Deion Sanders in Colorado basically threatening cease and desist letters against media and reporters at his open practices. The only question I have for you, and the one that came up to me this morning, is which one of these is actually like an issue? So I think that the camp, for me personally, I don't think anything affects LSU.
No, not like LSU directly. Like it's not going to affect LSU's current season because of the Jayden Daniels stuff. I will say it's a bad look for Jayden Daniels. Like if it was just, hey, you don't have permission to use my name, image, and likeness anymore unless I'm compensated, that's one thing. But for it to specifically be like, hey, nobody else can ever wear my number again,
so
that's stupid.
I think that there's a little bit of an over exaggeration of what may be going on, because at LSU, there's only one retired number, and it's, I believe, Billy Cannon's number 20. But obviously they've had Joe Burrow, they've had, other notable players. They use their Hall of Fame numbers. Nebraska's a little bit like this too, right? Like there are some numbers that are retired, but players wear 7 and wear 15 and wear that sort of stuff all the time, right? Except notably, you don't see many 93s running around. And there's not a whole lot of Ndamukong Suh lookalikes that are getting that number.
Yeah.
But, LSU does a lot of interesting things. One of their top cornerbacks or their top defensive back usually wears number 7. You've seen that since the Patrick Peterson years. Then that went to Tyrann Mathieu, and then so on and so forth. But there is a level of respect that, from my understanding and what I was reading about and trying to go back and find, no one has worn 9 since Joe Burrow wore it. And I think Jayden Daniels expected that would be the same level of, hey, this number is like available, but nobody chooses to wear it because it's kind of just like hollowed ground sort of thing.
Like out of respect.
So I can understand a little bit from the personal side, maybe of the Jayden Daniels side. Hey, I was a great quarterback at LSU. I won a Heisman Trophy. I hope that I would get this sort of respect as well. I also can understand the other side of it, where LSU's like, we have to give a number away.
Yeah.
But a very weird specific part of it, I don't know how detailed you are into the story. The Brian Kelly recruitment of the kid who's wearing number 5 as some cornerback, he was promised in his recruitment that he would be able to wear number 5, which I'm sure that happens a lot of times. But that's a weird thing to hinge your recruitment on.
It's not super unusual. I've heard that. And not that they hinge their recruitment on it, but a lot of recruits will, whether it's football or basketball, kind of just be like, hey, I'd really like this number. And then you have to get permission. I think it just happened with, weirdly enough, Fred King and Creighton a couple years ago. I think Bob Portman was 33 and he had to get, he didn't have to, but they asked his permission to.
It's like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's like asking for someone's blessing in a wedding, right? Like that sort of thing.
It's like, your dad can't legally prevent you from marrying someone, but like, it's nice to be like, hey, can I have your blessing? Whatever. But I don't know. The Jayden Daniels thing just seems pretty. Like, I get he won a Heisman.
Yeah.
But like, those weren't very good football teams. Like, he was really good.
Yes.
But the difference between him and Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow led one of the greatest college football teams of all time. Not just, hey, I won an individual Heisman, right?
Yes.
To your point, LSU does just have the one permanently retired number. They have some that are, I think they have 3 or 4 more that are like either jersey retired or like, hey, we don't really use these, but they're not like permanently out of circulation.
Right. Like Ring of Honor, Wall of Honor sort of thing.
There's like 3 or 4 more of those. Billy Cannon is the only like fully permanently retired number. But I don't know, like it just seems like a really lack of self-awareness type of thing from Jayden Daniels. Just be like, hey, I just thought nobody was ever going to wear my number again.
A weird hill to die on.
Yeah.
Especially for a university that probably would have welcomed you with open arms and now is like hesitant to do so.
Yeah. Like it's a weird thing to sort of distance yourself. And I don't know, maybe this is part of, we don't have to get too deep into this, but like maybe it's part of like the transfer portal culture where like you don't feel tied to a university. Because obviously he went to Arizona State before he went to LSU. And maybe it's like you just much more transactional, and you're like, well, hey, if you don't keep taking care of me, then I really have no emotional attachment to you. I don't know. But you do, I feel like, see these sorts of things sometimes where you can tell when somebody really connected with a school. Like Kevin Durant at Texas is a really good example. He only spent 1 year there. He loves Texas. He goes back for a bunch of Texas stuff. They honor him all the time. It wasn't even a particularly good Texas team. They had him and DJ Augustine and a couple other future pros and couldn't make the Sweet 16. So, like, that's a Rick Barnes issue, I think. But, like, you sit there and you go, okay, this dude was not particularly successful on a team basis at Texas, was only here for 1 year, but still Texas embraces him in a way, and he embraces Texas in a way that seems like he was a 4-year starter, whatever, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at UCLA or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are certain individuals that, and I think you're seeing this with Jayden Daniels, where you get a very transactional relationship even after they're gone, right? You don't get the Ndamukong Suh when he's coming here and paying for weight rooms and getting his name put on stuff and funding scholarships and all sorts of things. You get the like, well, hey, as soon as you stop taking care of me, what do I care about you? And so I don't know if that's what this is. That's sort of what it feels like to me. But I think both of these stories, both the Deion NDA, cease and desist, whatever for practice, and the Jayden Daniels jersey deal are both just really kind of stupid missteps.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if you're Colorado and you don't want people to report on practice, just close practice.
Yeah. And that's something that
is very common.
It's also not something that's unfamiliar to us, right? Like at Nebraska, when things are either going well or going bad, sometimes they just shut off practice. I mean, notably, we don't have a fan day scheduled, I don't think, right? Like they don't have the open fan day practice, I believe, scheduled for this.
Not yet. The one that you can buy tickets to or whatever.
And again, that's happened the past 2 years, but they're not doing it this year. Or
maybe they are, but they haven't announced it. I don't know.
Exactly. So like this isn't, I don't think that's again, it's not that big of a deal, but once it breaks containment, it becomes such a bigger deal because everyone gets their opinions in on it. Everyone shares and voices their disdain for whatever situation. But the Deion thing to me is like a much bigger issue because you can't threaten legal action against people just trying to do their jobs and what everybody else is standard practice, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, I just don't understand I really do not understand why you would just say, hey, we don't have open practices.
Yeah.
Like it's very easy just to make this a non-issue. Like why invite people in and then threaten them once they're there?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a very strange thing to me. I don't like, and if they can't say anything about what they saw anyway, then they don't care to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it doesn't help them do their job really. So I don't know. It's a very strange dynamic there because there is a very accepted practice to just say, we don't have people at practice.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big deal. Famously, like Nebraska basketball, you don't get to go watch practice.
Yep.
Right. I don't know that there might be some open sessions like 20 minutes or something, but I as far as I know, the last few years at least, you don't get to go see practice in Nebraska basketball. Not that big of a deal. Creighton, you can go see practice.
Yeah.
Like it's different.
Anybody can go.
Yeah. I mean, JP just rolled up. He's like, hey, Ravi's here. I'm like, all right, cool. Like that's what we did a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
It is.
Does it make it worse that his son is recording all of the practices and posting all of the stuff online? Like breaking up making highlights from practices?
Well, see, the thing is that you're equating that to Deion's son, right? I mean,
but it's part of the Colorado Athletic, I think.
Yeah, but that's the difference is that in the way that you frame that, you wanted to make it Deion's son posting the highlights, whereas it's part of the Colorado, media package or whatever. I mean, Nebraska does the same thing, right? Like we saw yesterday walk-in talks with Damon and RVP, and we saw them hanging out at whatever golf course pool reserve that they were at too. So that just because it's Deion's son doing it, I don't think that's the problem is not that. I don't have the problem. Now I can understand where people would misconstrue that and just turn that into a bigger deal because they would say, oh, well, Deion's son gets all this exclusive coverage.
But maybe they're right. That's just because it's his son, right?
Yes.
Like if it was anybody else that worked for the university, it'd be the same thing they do everywhere else. Amazing Daniel says that's a little revisionist when Callahan closed practices, people lost their minds. Yes, but that was the first time practices had been closed here.
Right.
Right. Like that's the difference. Practices being closed in general is not a deal. Like is not a big deal.
And also, again, different times too, because I'm not familiar with this Bill Callahan situation, but I assume that he probably started to close a practice because, I mean, it became, you started with the internet age, you started with blog posts, you started with all this other stuff. And
yeah, I don't know why he did it. It was, I mean, I remember it being a change and I remember people not being happy about it, but it also was, I think I remember sort of originally, and this might just, I think like a senior in high school when he took over. So I don't remember exactly, but I remember it being like, hey, Nebraska's doing like a whole new thing. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't want any information to get out before they played. Like,
Makes
that's
sense.
what I remember being the reason.
Installing a West Coast offense.
Yeah. Like, and so I don't know, maybe that was, maybe it wasn't, but that's what I remember the reason being. But again, like, yes, it was a departure from what we had in Nebraska. So we were upset about it here. But in general, the practice of, or the policy of closing practice is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. In individual circumstances, people get upset about it, but much less so than being like, yeah, you can come to practice, but we will sue you if you say anything about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole other thing that doesn't make any sense to me.
It's one thing that to tie it to Nebraska's sense and where we're heading for the college football season and everything. It's, everyone talked about the quiet off season, whatever. I think it was just an off season of just drama free, just trying not to cause distraction, right? And not just trying to cause a storyline for no unnecessary reason. Because once you have something like this, then that is the main question that comes up. I mean, Kiffin opened his press conference yesterday as having to answer 2 questions
about Jayden
Daniels. Joe Burrow, who finished a preseason game, had to answer questions about Jayden Daniels.
Yeah.
Once a question like this, once a storyline comes up, you have to address and answer that regardless, right? I mean, great example of this. When we get into middle of October and Nebraska is on that Monday morning practice and we get Rule to step up and everything, he's going to be asked by local media more than likely about Dylan. And Dylan's not going to play in the Oregon game.
In all likelihood, yeah.
And it won't matter, right? But it's like we have to force feed ourselves into storylines. We have to force ourselves to answer questions because everyone's talking and chattering about it. And we know that it's basically a snake eating its own tail. It's just going to keep going back and forth. Yeah. That's what I have the biggest issue with the Deion thing, is that you're creating a storyline for an completely unnecessary reason.
This is a lot of, again, it's a lot of those things where I think the people in a situation just don't take either easy wins or avoid easy losses, right? Where it's like, hey, it'd be really easy here not to do something stupid, and then they do the stupid thing anyway. Or be really easy here to get an easy win and say, hey, like, you can come to this many practices a week or whatever. And I mean, again, like, not that Nebraska does everything perfectly, right, in terms of PR, but it's very simple. It's like, hey, you can come to the first half hour of practice. It's all warm up and individual drills. And Nebraska media gets to say, hey, we saw practice. And Nebraska coaching staff gets to say, hey, we didn't show anybody anything. Like, everybody's relatively happy about it, right? Like, that's an easy win. It doesn't have to be a whole thing and doesn't have to be adversarial with the media all the time. And again, not to say that Nebraska does everything perfect, but this is like, practice being open or closed should not be this big of a deal anywhere. It's either, hey, it's open and you can report on it when we say you can, or when we say you can be here, or it's closed and there's nothing to report on. Like, it should not be that difficult. And it just becomes this whole thing.
Yeah. And that, listen, especially in college football with just playing crickets.
You good there, Shane?
No, it just means
I'm not playing that. I don't know
it just
where that
meant
came
that
from.
there's nothing going on, right? That's all that we mean. Nothing's happening. We got to find these crickets in the system.
Good Lord.
We've got, listen, we buffed out all the issues. It just turns out that there were crickets there. That's all it was.
Colorado buffed out all the issues?
Dang, that's a good way to end that.
We've got Tim Verghese coming up next from inside Nebraska here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, I was definitely following the news. I had talks with Danny a lot, and yeah, we're going day by day, but whatever happens, happens. But I think whatever is best for anyone, I'm going to be happy with. So, yeah, I'm excited because, I mean, redshirting was the goal, but then I wouldn't be able to play. And I think getting reps, even if it's just a little bit in games, it will help too. Just boost my confidence on the court too. And I'm excited.
They're such a good program, and they have a good team every single year. They're very consistent. Obviously, the last time we played them, it didn't go our way, and that's okay. That's sports. But
I grew up in the Big 12 and played here in the Big 12, and so that Texas rivalry runs pretty deep. And
I think just opening the season with such a strong team and a game against such a strong team is going to be super exciting, not only for us, but for the fans as well. Like, people want to see great matchups. They want to see good volleyball. And so getting to do that, especially at such a big venue, I think it's super exciting.
I thought it was a great call by both myself and Jarrett to renew that and showcase the sport even more. And they have everybody returning. We have most everybody returning, so it should be a really fun match.
Texas has like a bunch of amazing players, and it's going to be a great game for sure.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. Tim, how are we doing this morning?
Hey, morning, guys. How we doing?
Doing good, Tim. Hey, we were just talking about all of the Colorado cease and desist stuff. And before we get into any Nebraska talk, I was just curious, do you have anybody that's in that situation that's working Colorado media or anything like that? Or have you ever heard of anything that's like this? And do you know what the vibe is like out in Colorado?
Wait, which one? What are we talking here?
Oh, so Deion has basically sent out a cease and desist letter for the media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lincoln Riley did this at both USC and Oklahoma. He was pretty tight on media access. There was a point where I hope I'm telling this story right. Someone correct me in the comments. This was a national story, but someone who was either at Oklahoma or USC, but it was either late in the Oklahoma tenure, early in the USC tenure. But someone had walked up to a what am I trying to say? A building, an academic facility, an academic building near the practice field, to like the 6th or 7th floor, pretty high up, where you could actually overview the practice, and took some notes and wrote up those notes, and then got a cease and desist, and a whole thing, got banned for practice. This is at Oklahoma. This is late in Oklahoma. This happened to the OU Daily reporters there. So the student newspaper at Oklahoma. This happened a couple of years ago. And Lincoln Riley is notoriously strict on practice viewings, and it's been this. Look, this has been a thing. It's not just at Nebraska; it goes on in a few different places. We actually had a publisher at a different site reach out to us a couple of weeks ago, early in fall camp, asking about they were making a case for themselves. With the new staff that they're covering to get a little more fall camp access. And I said, hey, if you're building your case, probably not good to use the Nebraska site as an example. We don't get a whole lot of access. If you want to, you can go down to go talk to some of the guys in the SEC, because Tennessee and some of these other programs, it feels like they're at practice every single day.
That's very interesting that you say that, Tim, because I think that there's a perception that because of how, I guess, how deep the media access does go and the amount of media Nebraska gets, I think that there's just maybe the regional perception and local perception here that you guys have, your fingers everywhere. You're able to kind of get in and get out whenever you want to, but you actually think Nebraska's more limited than a lot of other places?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when it comes to fall camp and spring ball access, I mean, specifically fall camp, spring ball, I know a lot of programs are pretty guarded about, but you look across the sport, especially in the SEC and some of the top teams in the Big Ten, there's a little more practice access there. There's a little more, whether it's getting eyes on full scrimmages, whether it's getting eyes on practice a little more, a couple more times a week. We got our first viewing this past week. We're going to get another viewing next week, and that's probably going to be about it until the season gets. We can get about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, sometimes up to 20, 30 minutes. They've given us a little extra time here and there. But the part of it, too, is the practice availability we've gotten, I would say, over the last year or so. It's primarily been kind of indie drills and things like that. We don't really get opportunities to see guys go in live action, whether it's 11 on 11, 7 on 7, whatever that looks like. We really don't get a whole lot of true competitive action. It really is a lot of off the hoop observations. I'm hoping next week we get a little more than that, a little more beyond just indie, just so we get an idea of what this team's working at. We get an idea of some of the first and second units and where some of that stuff's working. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think we get, it's like you said, I think part of it is the depth of the media around here. I mean, look, we had media availabilities on Tuesdays, and I'm still seeing stories going out from those media availabilities. And I'm sure for some who don't really pay a whole lot of attention to what happens in this media market, it just makes it seem like, oh, they got more access, with Dexter Foster, we get more access with whoever. But that's not the case. It's just, hey, it's the interviews from a couple of days ago. This is just a different spin on it. This is just a different take on it. These are some quotes maybe you haven't seen, but it's the same interviews from when we last talked to them. So I think that's part of why I think people around here think we get a little more media access than we do. And of course, I mean, there's people out here with their sources and things where we hear stuff, but that's not the same as seeing it for yourself.
Tim, do you understand, I guess, the hesitancy of coaches to let people see practice? I've always I've gone back and forth on this a few times where, I understand maybe a scrimmage, you don't want to see people you don't want people seeing kind of the sequencing of your plays and things like that. But in a typical football practice, at least the ones that I've been to, there's a lot going on. There's not that much live action gameplay that your normal media member could take away that much from. Do you understand why coaches are so secretive and protective about these things?
So I used to get really frustrated about it. I used to get really frustrated on, man, what are we missing? What's happening behind the scenes that we're not being able to see? I mean, this is all going to be out there on game tape eventually anyway. What are you really keeping? What are you guarding? Over the last, I would say, 2 off seasons or so, since the NIL era has come up, and I think a lot of these agencies and third parties and so on are working ahead and really starting to work ahead. I have had conversations with agents on any little rumor that pops out of Nebraska camp, and they reach out about anything, and it's also the people that are building out these databases of, hey, here's our guys who could be in the portal or whatever. And it's just, it often is just based in speculation. It often is just based in, hey, I heard this thing coming out of camp. Can you confirm, or do you believe this thing, or are you hearing this as well, or whatever? And so it's like, okay, well, maybe it does make a little sense to be a little guarded, because all of these agents are looking for hey, who's the guy that's buried on the depth chart that we can convince to get away from there? Who's the guy that whatever, And so because there is all these other actors, I would say, that are very invested in how these practices are going and who's the reports coming out of who's late, who's further down on the depth chart, or who's having a better camp than expected, who's having a worse camp than expected. The fact that there's real incentive for those other actors now to read that stuff, look at that stuff, and then potentially cause an issue within the team. I think, and that's just that. I mean, listen, unfortunately, that is the state of the sport. It's not a thing that's just happening at Nebraska. It's happening in other places too. And so that is kind of the world we're in, though, unfortunately, I understand it now. I understand, still to some extent, I think it can be a little over the top, not just at Nebraska, at other places too, of complete guarded. I mean, what's happening in Colorado, it's a little over the top. I mean, that's a little too serious, but at the same time, I do understand it now, because you cannot be too overprotective of these things. You want to keep your roster together. You want to keep your culture intact. And so I understand wanting to protect that when there are, when there are agencies in the mix, where there are these other factors in the mix now too.
Tim, just going into Nebraska practice side, obviously everybody got their own view of the media availability that came out earlier this week. I was curious your thoughts on the new assistant coaches, non-Orich and the coordinator, obviously, spot, but some of those individual drills that you were able to maybe get a piece of. Was there a coach that you were most interested to see how they operate in that capacity? And is there one that, if you were given the full access, that you would want to watch for how they operate through the full 2-hour session, or however long a practice may go?
Yeah, I think we've gotten a really good feel of the new assistants, and part of it for me is I like to watch these guys, not just at these type of things. We got a little of indie action in spring ball too, but I watch these guys during practices not practices, but camps in June, and seeing these guys, you kind of get a feel for who they are as coaches when you get to see them coach high schoolers, when you get to see them kind of break down the fundamentals a little bit. And so I really enjoyed getting around Corey Brown and watching him break down the game. And he did that again in Indy on Tuesday. Roy Manning, I think his you see it. They talked about him being he's a fine tuner, so to speak, someone who, really works on finishing those pass rush moves and finishing out the rush and really detailing, the end of the rush, so to speak. And you see that from him. When every time you're around him, you see him kind of fine tuning. It's always little details he's working on with his group. And it reminds me a little bit of what Deion Shorts has kind of done with the wide receiver room, where there's no detail that's too small for them to work. They're working at the receiver room. They're working route breaks, they're working hands, they're working contested catch, they're working all of these different things in Indy. And at Pastors too, it's very detailed, everything they're working on. And so I've really enjoyed that. If I had to pick one to just be around all of practice, though, it's absolutely Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley. I love watching those two get to work with the line. I want to see a little more. That's the one area we've seen primarily indie stuff, both in practices and in camp. With Jeep Wade, I got to spend a little time, in those O-line, D-line camps, and some of those camps in June. Just spend a little time like right next to Jeep Wade and listening to him critique offensive linemen, both in the state, out of state targets that were on campus back in June. And so you get an idea of what he's looking for. You get an idea of, okay, here's what he is looking for on tape. Here's what a good offensive lineman looks like to Jeep Wade. Here's what a good stance looks like to Jeep Wade. So getting a feel for all of those things, but I really want to get a look at him working together with the unit in full. I really want to get an eye of what that looks like in scrimmage action, how he critiques the unit as a unit, specifically that starting unit. I want to see him how he gets after the tackles. It really feels like Elijah Pritchett is moving different this year. I think he's operating from pure. It doesn't even have to be a physical thing. Purely mentally, I think he's walking into this season with a confidence he didn't have last year. And I'm really curious to how we got there and how Jeep Wade got there.
Tim, just from a pure physical standpoint, right? You've seen a lot of high-end players, both at the high school and college level. Obviously, you've had a couple stops before coming to Nebraska. Just from Yeah, so I have a fair amount of confidence in your ability to look at people and be like, hey, physically, this is what it's supposed to look like to play a certain level of football, right? Just from a pure physical standpoint, when you're looking at Nebraska, where do you think they match up in terms of, and I'm not talking about the Ohio State Oregons of the world, I'm talking about kind of like 4 through the middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Where do you think there are places where Nebraska matches up with the rest of the league physically? And where do you think there's places where it's like, I'm not sure they look like the rest of the Big Ten should?
Yeah, I O-line absolutely looked the part there, especially that starting 5. You asked them to get a little deep at some positions. I started to get a little worried, but I think the first and second O-line, at least how I've penciled it out on paper, looks the way it should for a Big Ten program. Wide receiver room, I'd put that wide receiver room with just about anybody in that 4 to 6 range in the conference, 4 to 8 range in the conference. I like that wide receiver room. I mean, they have a good range of size. They have a good range of, ball winning traits and different frames and all of that. So I like the versatility in there. I'll say the tight end room. I'll throw the tight end room in there. I like the depth and the different body types in that room. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't think I'm ready to put. I like the progress that they've made about that defensive line and edge, and I would say the starting for the first 6 guys, I would say I'm expecting in the D-line edge room, combined, not the top 6 in both rooms, but the first 6, I would say pass rushers off the bus, pretty solid. I think those guys hold up, but the depth I think is where Nebraska's lacking compared to the others in the Big Ten in terms of, hey, what does that second and third unit look like at edge and at D-line, So a bit of a question mark there, but, like Jasir Whittington doesn't really look like the Big Ten pass rush or a Big Ten interior defensive lineman, but in a 4 down front, I think he's capable of being effective. We've seen it on tape. He's played Notre Dame and Miami and held his own. He's shown he can hold up against kind of elite offensive line units. And so it's not that I'm worried about him, but from a pure, hey, physicality off the hoof standpoint, I still have that question mark about the D-line. I'll throw the linebacker room in there, especially with what they've added in there. Dexter Foster, Owen Chambliss, to pair with Vincent Shavers and Dawson Merritt and Pierce Newberry and a few others in that room, Will Hawthorne, others in that room. I think that room looks the way it should at this point. I'm not ready to say it about the DBs just yet, but I'll say the starting corners. Or the expected rotation. I mean, Andrew Marshall on the other side, Danny Odom, you've got Jeremiah Charles and Victor Evans. I think all 3 of those guys have done good work. Andrew Marshall as well have done good work to their frame where they look the part. They look what, future pro defensive back should look like. And so I like the growth they've made. We obviously need to see it. That's the one room when you look at this roster on paper where, they don't really have blue chip talent the way they do up front. I mean, you need guys to produce, but they have a little more blue chip talent up front. They have a little more blue chip talent in the linebacker room. What these portal guys, the rankings in the portal for these guys were, but there's really truly one true blue chip guy in that secondary, and it's freshman Danny Odom. And so it's going to be on development. It's on Addison Williams. It's on Tyler Yelk, it's on Rob Borich to develop that room and make sure they're good to go, because I believe in that room. I like a lot of features on that room, but from a national perspective, that room's going to have some question marks on it because of the lack of, again, lack of star talent when you look at it on paper.
All right, so Tim, I just want to make sure I have kind of the summation correct. Wait and see on the defensive line, and wait and see on the secondary.
Yes.
Everywhere else looks at least like you would sort of expect it to for a middle-class Big Ten team, 4 to 8. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say so.
What about, did you mention running backs?
That's another one where it's just, I mean, part of it's the production, and the production we still need to see. I've talked about this before. I like the diverse skill set. I like the bodies in the room. I've said this before on here. I believe a good running game is going to be based on a good offensive line. I believe Nebraska has a good offensive line. They're going to be able to create holes. So it's not about a lack of confidence necessarily in the running back room, but you look across the Big Ten and what that 4 to 6 range in the conference, what their running backs look like compared to Nebraska. Yeah, Nebraska's putting a lot of faith in guys that we haven't really seen a whole lot of yet. I believe in some of those guys. I know the staff believes in those guys. We're just in wait and see mode. I don't think I can say just physically and based on what we know that I'm confident those guys can hold up with the middle of the pack of the conference.
So, and I'm not asking you to make a record prediction or anything here, but when we're talking about 4 to 6 and 4 to 8, we're talking about basically teams that are 8 and 4 or 9 and 3. That last year, at least, that was the range we're talking about here. Physically, you don't have, like, again, there's places we need to see it still. There's places where there's not production, but just from a physical, hey, what does this football team look like? You're comfortable putting Nebraska physically in that range.
I think so. I think in like the Washington range, I would say. Like, I think them and Washington aren't too far off, especially when we see them up against each other on October 31st. I think those rosters on both sides of the line of scrimmage, I think it'll just be kind of an eye opener of, hey, these teams don't look too different from each other. I mean, even down to the quarterback. Devon Williams is not a very big guy, so. That's the one. I mean, I'm not going to make a record prediction here, but that's the game I have circled. Nebraska needs to win the games they should this fall, and handle business. The one game outside of that I think, okay, they have a really good shot and they should win this fall, or I believe if you want to show progress, you need to circle and you need to win kind of head to head. It's the Washington game for me. It's not Indiana. It's not any of those games. I mean, do what you can in those games. For me, it's Washington. That's the game I have circled this year as the, okay, if you were a team that's better than last year, if you're a team that's made growth, you should play this team close. You should win this game. You should win this game at home.
Tim, I know you highlighted a couple of players just over the past couple of days from videos that you posted and you did some writing about too. But I'm curious now that you've been able to see them in pads and see how they work in fall practice. Who are still maybe the biggest projects on the team? Like guys that you feel like need some more time to develop, or guys that are long-term evaluations for the coaching staff?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me run through this a little bit. I'm trying to think if there's anybody in the receiver room I think is a longer-term project at this point. If there's just guys kind of waiting their turn. I think everybody in that room is just kind of waiting their turn. I mean, I think like Larry Miles, I think when healthy is ready to play. I think Nayland Scott, when he's healthy, he's going to be ready to go. He won't take super long for him. Cortez Mills, same deal. They feel pretty good about the guys. I'll throw Mo Purify in there in the wide receiver room, the freshman out of Omaha West Side. A lot of enticing traits. I thought a lot of flashes at the high school level, but I had some questions about his production, his sure-handedness. And so, he's someone who, a little development, a little work could be intriguing down the line. He's built a little differently than others in that room. His combination of size and athleticism, is a bit unique in that room. In the offensive line room, it's called a Puma, of course. I think that's one I have circled just as hey, like stash develop, just keep seeing how that guy continues to progress. Hayden Ainsworth, another one who is a freshman this year. And keep in mind with Hayden Ainsworth, he reclassified down. He was supposed to be a class of 2027 prospect. He reclassified down to the 2026 class. So he's relatively young for the cycle. He is on a bit of a head start. So anything you get out of him as a true freshman this fall is a plus. I mean, anything you get out of him is going to be a plus. But he's someone, stash, develop, see what you have. I think it sounds like he arrived on campus a little bit ahead of schedule. He's got a good frame, and someone they can see as a potential tackle projection, even though I think long term he's probably a better fit at guard. So he's the one I'm really intrigued by. I would say those two, Claude and Hayden, I'm really intrigued by. Preston Ta'amu, I mean, there's not really much, from a behind the scenes standpoint that he still needs to do. It's just that he's waiting his turn. He's another one who's kind of just waiting his turn, but I'm excited to see what that looks like when he's ready to go. I expect we see a good bit of him in the rotation this fall. He's probably going to be I would imagine that first interior offensive lineman off the bench. If it's not him, it's going to be someone like Tyler Knock. Defensive line, there's a few there. I would say there's a few there. I'm expecting this year to see some Malcolm Simpson and Tyson Terry, but I think for both of those guys, it's more of, hey, next year is when you're stepping into bigger roles. So what can you do for us this year, and how much what can you take on, and how much more can we add to your play? What kind of expectations can we set for you for 2027? Dylan Berriman, the further we get into fall camp, as much as I think he's going to play a part in the rotation. He's going to need some to continue losing weight through fall camp to have a role in the rotation this year. But he's another one who I think, hey, I think, keep working on this guy, because what he can be down the line for you along the interior of the line is so much more intriguing than maybe what he can be in year one. So keep working at that, keep chipping away there. Edge, of course, it's Jeremiah Jones. I mean, it has to be Jeremiah Jones and what they're working at there, what they're trying to do with him. I am fascinated by the Mac Markway Edge project. I'm fascinated by how that's going, how he's progressing, kind of where he's at from a patient standpoint too. Is he willing to sit this thing out and really put in the work to maybe have that breakout, fifth year senior season or whatever that looks like for him. And in the linebacker room, there's actually a few in the linebacker room. I think Jace Reynolds is a stash and develop guy who, especially compared to others in the room, is going to need some time. And so I'm excited to see where he fits in, where he ultimately finds his ultimate positional home. Christian Jones, same deal. Kind of still, I think, finding his true positional home. And trying to put it all together. So those two guys, I think, stash and develop guys in the linebacker room. At DB, weirdly, I think we're going on another year of, hey, it's stash and develop for Braylon Prude and Amari Sanders and Larry Tarver, where, there's still some excitement. And I think Prude and Sanders in particular, there's still excitement about what those guys can be. And Tarver's someone who, when healthy, he's in the mix. He's consistently in the mix. It's just a matter of being able to stay on the field consistently. But all three of those guys, I think they're entering another year just with where that other quarterback battle feels like it's heading. All three of those guys are heading into another year of waiting behind the scenes. They're probably going to get into the rotation a little more, but really just kind of developing. I think Prude is someone I would keep an eye on because I think his projections changed a little bit in Rob Orich's defense. So, but someone I'm very intrigued by as he continues to learn the game, get his feet under him. Amari Sanders, more of a sound corner prospect they've been excited about for some time. He's just kind of biding his time. I wonder about Amari Sanders if he's just a year behind Jeremiah Charles, so to speak, where, the way we're talking about Jeremiah Charles in fall camp and coming out of spring is the way we're going to be talking about Amari Sanders this time in spring, this time in fall camp, when he's, when he's the one that's maybe battling for that Andrew Marshall job. And in the safety room, Tanner Turch is one for me, just very, very excited about just, his continued development. I like the flashes we saw on tape. Again, he was someone who has very little experience at the safety position. I think he's someone for me that I'm keeping an eye on. Jason Shiggs, the transfer they brought in, I don't really know what type of role he's going to have in the safety room this year, but he's someone I can see stepping into a bigger role, kind of like Jameer Khan did from last year to this year, stepping into a bigger role. So how they work with him, what this year looks like for him, both on the field and behind the scenes, I'm intrigued by. And I'm going to throw Rex Guthrie in there, not because I think he has much to learn. He's consistently been heralded as one of the smarter guys in the back end of that defense, and he's going to play, a lot more than probably people think he should because of his instincts for the game and his understanding of the game. But coming off the injury he suffered this offseason and with where that safety room's going, I do think we're going to see some of him, but I wonder if the best of Guthrie is still yet to come because he's still learning, he's still kind of learning this defense, but also I think for him, I think he's still trying to figure out how he best fits in. I think the best fit for Rex Guthrie is being surrounded by, better athletes, both at linebacker and safety, where he can kind of just let loose a little bit and trust his instincts and be in position to make plays. But if he has to be one of the better athletes in that back end, I don't love the projection of the DB room. I don't think that's going to have to be the case this year. So it's just about finding that role for Guthrie where he can utilize his instincts in the best way. So that's something I'm excited to see. I know we ran through a bunch of names there, but that's kind of where my head's at midway through fall camp.
Tim, there were a couple names there that I wanted to follow up with. You brought up both Claude Mpuma and Dylan Berryman on opposite sides of the line, both true freshmen. If you had, I'm going to ask two questions about those guys. Number one, if you had to say, hey, one of these guys that is more ready to play even a rotational role this year, as we know, super hard to play on the defensive line early or on either side of the line early. So if you had to say, hey, this guy's more ready to even play a rotational role this year, it would be, which one would that be? And secondly, if one of those guys does have to play a rotational role this year, do you think it's because of their development or because something else happened along the lines at their positions?
Oh, so the first part, I think I'll throw Berriman in there just because with Berriman, it really is just kind of a weight thing. Like once he gets that in check, he feels like somebody. I mean, I saw him a little bit in high school, young in high school, and obviously followed his senior season and all of that as Nebraska started to push to land him and did eventually land him. He is someone who kind of balloons up and down. That weight's going to go up and down. So I'm hoping, and at least my projection and what I've heard at least is through fall camp he's going to naturally drop that weight and be in a good spot, a better spot, to utilize his athleticism a little bit. Look, he's someone who's not very big. I'm like, he's big from a weight standpoint, but length is not his best. He's lacking in the length department. And so he has to have that quickness that you saw from him as a senior. You saw from him on tape. For a stouter defensive lineman to penetrate the backfield consistently, to create. And I don't think he has that right now at the weight he currently has. So the big question for me is with Berriman is, can he drop that weight? Can he get that weight into a controllable position over these next few weeks? Because if he can, and I do think he's going to be part of the rotation this year. And I think he can be a key part of the rotation this year. It's just a matter of, because he plays with good leverage. He's someone who, what his assignment's going to be this year is going to be just take on those double teams, and open things up for the rest, and I think he can do that. I think he's capable of doing that as a freshman in the rotation, in the rotational capacity he's going to be asked to. With Claude, it's still because he's still developing the technique, because he's still developing specifically in pass protection. That was an area for me coming out of high school where, hey, he's got good footwork. He's got a soccer background. He learns very fast. He's got the physicality to hold up at the tackle spot, but that footwork needed work. And I thought he took big strides from junior year to senior year. I mean, just watch his footwork in pass protection as a junior and watch how that changed at Mount Carmel as a senior. It's still not great, but it took sizable steps forward. And so I'm looking for, if he's going to have any type of impact and he's going to work into the rotation this year, I think he's going to take another big sizable step in that department. Now, if one of those two has to step up into a bigger role this fall, I would be a little more concerned if it's Claude, because that probably means something happened to Elijah Pritchett or Tree Babalati. And I would probably point to Elijah Pritchett, because I think my feel on this has been they're training Claude Puma to be the left tackle of the future. I just kind of think that's where things are headed there. I don't know if they want to go through the struggle of cross-training him both left and right. I think it just makes more sense to just keep him at left. And so, if something were to happen to Tree, or they were to rotate in Gunner, or something were to happen there, I don't think it would be Claude Puma called into action. But if something were to happen to Elijah Pritchett, I think it would be Claude Puma likely called into action at that left tackle spot. On the defensive line, I'm expecting Dylan Merriman to be in that mix. I don't think I don't think I'm concerned if Dylan Berriman is eating into someone else's snaps. I don't think that's a big issue for me. I honestly think it's probably a positive and a good thing for the D line. If that guy who plays with such natural leverage, just has the mass he does and takes up the space he does, that type of space eater is working his way up the depth chart. I mean, he's a little different than others on that D line, and so for that reason, I think I would be a little more comfortable if it had to be Dylan.
Tim, last one for me, and I want to start a new segment with you now that Damon's not here. So I know that he had such terrific, difficult questions for you. So I'm calling this segment of our Tim Verghese segment the questions from my 2-year-old niece. And this question is about Danny Odom. She wants to know, if Danny Odom does not win the cornerback 2 spot, how does he fit in maybe in a different role defensively? Is there another spot for him? And how do you see his projection through the rest of the year, especially just for his true freshman season?
Yeah, for freshman year, I think if he doesn't win the outside corner job, I think he's just likely just going to be in that rotation still. He is best in that corner role. I did wonder when I got my eyes on him at All-American Bowl in January, and we got to see him go up against some of the best in the country, and we got to see his length and his physicality really pop there. I wonder about him as a future nickel. I wonder about him, around like outside of Donnie Jones, down the line to someone, he's got a physical element to him. But longer term for his career, for his NFL future, for all of that, I think he's likely just going to settle into that outside corner role. I think he's just going to work into that rotation most likely. An outside corner that could tackle, but provided you can really shut down a side of the field is still at this point a little more valuable than a nickel defender, or a good nickel defender. A great nickel defender is really valuable, but a good nickel defender compared to a kind of shutdown corner, outside corner with some physicality to him, you still take the outside corner. So for that reason, I still think he's going to be an outside corner. I still think he's going to be in that rotation over, or at least for this year. My projection for him this year, look, I think going into it, I thought going into spring ball, I thought he had a real shot at winning that job. I still think he's very much in that battle, very much in the mix. Like Jamal Rule, though, and so this is a point about both of these guys. I think both of these guys may not be pushing for the starting job September, October, or early October. But late October, November, I'm looking for a little more snaps from those guys. I think I'm looking for, come late October, come November, we're talking about, these guys are making a push up the depth chart. Oh, hey, I'd like to have the conversation at the end of October and maybe even early November where it's, Jamal Rule took the most carries of anyone in that running back room, or it's, they're really starting to pull back the snaps on Jeremiah Charles and Danny Odom starting to get a little more snaps. I'd like to see that conversation happen at that point. I think that'd be a good goal for both of those guys is to start really pushing for that starting job, even if it doesn't happen at the start of the year, at some point this fall.
Tim, we'll get you out of here on this. I kind of feel like he might be a little bit of the forgotten man, especially in the secondary, but he's played a ton, and I don't totally know where he fits into the secondary this year. Where do you project Donovan Jones for 2026?
Oh, he's the nickel. He's the nickel.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's absolutely the nickel. I'm excited about what that's going to look like for him. That's an opportunity that for me, the question with him had always been his eyes coming out of high school, and what we've seen from him early early at Nebraska was just, can he get his eyes right? Can he see it well? Because I think at corner, your scope is so limited. It's just you and the guy outside. You maybe have a run fit responsibility here and there, but typically your responsibility is the guy in front of you or the zone you're assigned to. Your scope is pretty limited. Nickel, the scope opens up just a little bit. You have a run fit more consistently, but you're not opening up the scope in terms of everything he has to process and look at the way it would if you moved him to the third level back to a true safety role. So I think this is the best fit for him. I'd like to see him attack this. I mean, really the question for me going into this year is going to be, he's talked about putting in the work. He's talked about improving those eyes, improving his instincts, all of those things. What does it look like when the bullets are flying? That's going to be my question for him. Can he tackle in space? Can he be a true weapon in space? He popped up for me as kind of someone we're not really talking about enough. Like you mentioned, someone I'm buying stock in heading into the season because, I think the projection of this defense really changes if it goes from, hey, they've got a couple established starters in that back end to, hey, they have a couple potential future NFL or NFL caliber DBs in Andrew Marshall and Donnie Jones and whoever else you want to throw in there from that secondary that steps up. But you just if you get Jameer Khan's talked about this, he believes that Donnie Jones is a future NFL player, and he's got the traits at 6'1", 200. If he's running 4.3 like they say he is, that's impressive. That's that is again, NFL level athleticism. And so if he's doing all of those things, we've seen the physicality he does have on tape. And if the eyes are better and he can be a true weapon in this nickel role, the nickel role is key in Rob Orrich's defense. So again, I don't know why we're not talking about him enough. He's going to play an important role. He's critical to this defense operating the way Rob Orrich wants it to. And so if he has the year I think he's capable of, if he does all of the things he's supposed to do and he takes those steps forward in the areas I think he can take those steps forward in, it changes the projection of the defense completely, because you're talking about a nickel defender in a defense where that nickel defender has to do a lot of different things on a snap to snap basis. You're talking about that guy being an NFL player. Yeah, that helps a lot.
That's Tim Verghese, Inside Nebraska. Tim, terrific stuff as always. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, appreciate you.
That is Tim Verghese from inside Nebraska. We'll take a quick break here. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live after this.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, I was definitely following the news. I had talks with Danny a lot, and we're going day by day, but whatever happens, happens. But I think whatever is best for anyone, I'm going to be happy with. So, yeah, I'm excited because, redshirting was the goal, but then I wouldn't be able to play, and I think getting reps, even if it's just a little bit in games, it will help too. Just boost my confidence on the court too, and I'm excited.
They're such a good program, and they have a good team every single year. They're very consistent. Obviously, the last time we played them, it didn't go our way, and that's okay. That's sports. But
I grew up in the Big 12 and played here in the Big 12, and so that Texas rivalry runs pretty deep. And
I think just opening the season with such a strong team and a game against such a strong team is going to be super exciting, not only for us, but for the fans as well. Like, people want to see great matchups. They want to see good volleyball. And so getting to do that, especially at such a big venue, I think it's super exciting.
I thought it was a great call by both myself and Jarrett to renew that and showcase the sport even more. And they have everybody returning. We have most everybody returning, so it should be a really fun match.
Texas has a bunch of amazing players, and it's going to be a great game for sure.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Reminding you to give our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical a call, 402-614-9700. I'll have to go visit our friends on Monday. I have a long weekend, lots of tennis matches to get in. And
is that what you're traveling for?
Yeah, I'm doing a tennis tournament in St. Louis.
I didn't realize. I thought you were just going for fun.
No, I don't.
No one has fun in St. Louis.
No, that's not true. I've had fun in St. Louis. One of my best friends went to law school there, so I'd go visit him. And no, there's lots of fun parts of St. Louis.
How long is that trip from here?
It's about 6.5.
Oh,
it's a drive. It's a drive, but there's
about an hour drive.
It's just about an hour drive outside of Omaha. No, there's certain tournaments you have to play to qualify for nationals. So I'd like to try and make a run at that. So
well, good luck. I didn't realize this was a competitive.
It's a business trip.
This is a business trip.
No.
Can you expense it?
Not that type of business. But so I'm gonna need a little recovery on Monday.
Okay,
might have to go get like the IV. Might have to go get one of my little vitamins, or maybe the Hercules shot.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was DB's bread and butter was the Hercules shot.
You should come back in like a neck brace, and so that way everyone's just like, "Oh my god, what happened?" And be like, "I just put my body on the line, trying to win a title."
Blood, sweat, and tears, baby.
Where would nationals be?
It's either in Florida or Arizona. They switch between years, so. That would
live
be
show from Florida or Arizona.
Maybe it's in, I believe, early March.
So this was because of your Cornhusker State games finish? Or?
So you have to, in order to call them 402-614-9700, next gen mail medical, you have to accumulate a certain number of points within the national standings. They kind of go by region. So I have to, if I can become the highest point total in the Missouri Valley region, then I would qualify for nationals. And because
you're very familiar with the Missouri Valley region.
I'm very familiar with Missouri Valley. I was a big Missouri Valley basketball guy for a while.
Go back is what you're saying? Go back to the MVC?
This year, I mean, this is my Arch Madness. This is my Arch Madness.
Your Arch?
Well, that's what they used to call it. They used to call the MVC tournament Arch.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. That's awesome.
They call it Arch Madness because it's in St. Louis every year.
Okay.
But no, it's so if I did well enough at the Cornhusker State games in the tournament here in Omaha a couple weeks ago that I've put myself in position where a couple more tournaments I might be able to qualify.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You know, people your age usually don't have hobbies like this, so
I know.
I'm very proud of you.
This is
way to get out of the house.
It's because I don't have kids. It opens up the whole world for me.
Who's watching the dogs?
Natasha's staying.
Oh, you're going by yourself?
No, I'm going with my tennis coach. He's going to coach me.
Wow.
You have a coach?
This is becoming the most privileged conversation possibly said.
This is going to go a long ways toward your Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Oh,
see?
Good argument, Shane. Good argument, Shane. Yes, and your butler can take care of you next too. That'll be great.
I don't have a butler.
You have Alfred Pennyworth at home.
Are you going to cover your boat? Is that good?
No, he's taking the boat with him just for some recreation.
No,
get his mind off the games.
I'm not going down to like Table Rock or anything. Like it's
sure, man. Sure. Now I'll be rooting for you. When is your first match? Saturday morning?
A Saturday morning, yeah. So,
you got to dip out of here quick then.
Well, I'll be okay. We'll go tonight, or we'll leave probably around noon today. But I got a first round bye because in that particular tournament I am the number 1 seed.
Nice.
Because
so you cannot get upset.
Well,
you cannot lose your first game.
It's true. Yeah, I gotta dial in tomorrow morning, but I'll have plenty of time since I don't have to play tonight.
If you text me your results, can I be the Lulla beat reporter and announce your results?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So I just need updates on how you're doing, and I'll post those.
I'll see if my coach can get some video as well.
Perfect. Yes. No, that would be incredible.
Some highlight packages.
I will post them to me. I will post
Is your tennis coach going to drive so you can watch film?
No, we don't have film on my opponents yet.
Oh, come on. Yeah, not yet.
But we are
until he spy gets this thing.
We are going to go.
We're
going to go early before because my match I believe is at 11 tomorrow. So we'll go early to kind of scout out the opponents before.
So will there be any play-by-play anywhere?
Ooh, good question.
I don't think there's a live stream. Now there's one in Kansas City later that will have a live stream.
Okay.
And if I do well in St. Louis, I'll probably go to Kansas City to really try and put those tournament points over the top.
So how many suites of the hotel floor did you have to book out for yourself?
Just the one.
Okay, gotcha. Are you and your coach sharing a room?
Yeah, we got the double queen.
Oh, the double queen?
Yeah.
Nice.
You
nice.
know.
Yes, queen.
Listen, I'm not trying to get 2 hotel rooms for a whole weekend. That's fair. That's aggressive.
That's fair. Okay.
Not yet.
I did tell him, he's like, we could stay anywhere, like we could go to like a Econo Lodge. I was like, no, absolutely not.
Listen, there's a piece of this. DoubleTree or higher?
I am at a DoubleTree.
I love a DoubleTree. Listen, I love a DoubleTree.
I told him I have a 3-star minimum on hotels.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookie that comes with it.
I'm 100%. I have very strict rules about hotels. No doors that open to the outside. Like
Okay.
the motel
Yeah,
situation,
right,
like
yeah,
where your
yeah.
room door opens to the outside.
Yep.
Absolutely not.
That's fair.
Never going to happen. I don't do Airbnbs.
Oh, really?
I'm not an Airbnb.
Okay.
I'm sure it's a lovely company. If they'd like to sponsor us, that's fine, and I'll reconsider my position.
That's fair.
But
Verbo guy.
I don't do Airbnbs. I don't this is one place where I'm very chain dependent. I trust the chains because if something goes wrong, then you have like, it's not just some dude that owns a boutique hotel and he's like, sorry, bud.
Good point.
Like,
Good point.
you have kind of that's a place where bureaucracy can help you, is in a chain hotel situation. So, those are my hotel rules.
Okay.
But yeah, 3-star minimum for sure. I'm not staying anywhere weird.
Are you guys driving down together?
Yes. Why would we take 2 cars to St. Louis, Shane?
I'm just asking.
These are good questions, Shane.
Going to be a lot of Creed in the car?
This is your press conference right now. This is your press conference.
Yeah, sure. What other questions do we have?
Will you be allowing media access to any of your practices beforehand?
Listen, I think we're gonna hit around right before we leave town today to make sure I get a little work in. So, if you want to show up, you're more than welcome to.
Would you say that coming into this year's competition, you are in the best shape of your life? You're 15 pounds lighter, but somehow also faster and stronger? I mean,
thanks to Next Gen Male Medical, famously, I am, from a couple years, I'm down like 50 pounds. So that helps a lot.
Okay. Rico, on the stream in the back, do you have a question?
Yes. Rico, Hurrdat Sports. Yes, I would like to know if your extremely heavy tennis bag has a favorite racket that you will be using.
I do. So I hit with a Babolat Pure Strike. I do have a favorite one. So you got to carry a couple different rackets with you to make sure, because sometimes you break a string or whatever. So I have 3 Babolat Pure Strikes. One of them has a white frame with orange. The other 2 are gray with orange. The white frame with the orange is my favorite. It looks a little drippier. So that's the one I string to my preferred tension, and the other 2 are kind of alternates.
Okay, so a question here from the chat. Let's see. Heath wants to know what's the go-to food for the Hotel Continental breakfast at your DoubleTree, especially pre-competition, right?
Yeah,
that's got to be critical for your nutrition.
Yeah, I really like to. You're gonna have to get some carbs in, obviously, for energy and to make sure my blood sugar doesn't drop.
The waffle.
I don't know if I'm gonna go waffle or
Too
not.
heavy?
Yeah, I have to decide. See what the options are. This might be like a muffin or a biscuit situation.
See, this is where you probably should have done one of the breakfast bar areas, like
so they have a buffet. They have the breakfast buffet as part of as I think many DoubleTrees do.
Right.
So
what's the hotel that does the omelet stations and stuff like that?
I think that's the Embassy.
The Embassy.
I think the
Yes,
Embassy
that's right,
has those.
I
So,
love an Embassy. I will pay extra to stay at an Embassy if I have the possibility to do so.
No, Embassies are very nice hotels. Don't have any issues with Embassies at all. But so we'll probably do it. I go kind of bland. I don't want my stomach to get upset.
Right.
So I'm very safe with my food choice. So probably like some eggs, hash browns, and then maybe like a muffin or something to get the carbs in.
You doing the Rico beige diet?
Yeah, we're gonna go full beige like Rico. Yeah,
great.
100% beige. And there's no salsa involved in the pregame
you can't have it
meal.
exploding all over your chest.
Yeah, you can't have anything that explodes all over your chest.
Yeah, can't do that. No,
Speaking of which, make sure you go sign up for Schick and Nick, whether it's the show on August 18th at night at the sports bar or the golf tournament. I believe there are a few spots left open for the golf tournament as well. Look for Schick and Nick on Eventbrite, and you'll find your opportunity to get tickets there.
So how many matches max could you have?
If I win the tournament, I will play 3 total matches because I got a first round bye.
Okay.
So I'll play 3 instead of 4.
And you're in a division?
Yes. So I'm in the 18 plus division of my particular skill group.
Did you get invited or did you have to sign up for this?
Hold on. Before that,
how does this work?
In your skill group, so you said you won points. That's like beating other people, all that other stuff. You're an 18 plus?
Yeah.
Is this a kids tournament?
No, it's 18 and over.
Okay, I was like, did you just sign up for like a children's tournament that has like an 18 and up division?
No, this is an adult tournament. This is part of like they have, adult nationals and things like that. But the age groups are 18 and up, 40 and up, and then 55 and up. So I can't wait to get to 40 and up because then I'm on the youngest end of that spectrum as opposed to being the oldest person in that.
Then you can start teaching some lessons to old men.
Absolutely. Those 54-year-olds are just going to get rocked.
Just get cut.
I got a question.
Instead of just me getting run all over the place by a 23-year-old former Division I wide receiver.
Radio Rico AC.
Yes. I with the 18 plus and 40 plus, all of that. How did you get the number 1 overall seed when, as you did let us know, you did not play tennis in high school. I don't know if you played tennis in college. I know you didn't play at four-year university, but you started playing later on in your life. How did you get the number 1 overall seed as being a fairly new tennis player?
Seems like a lot of extra in that question. I don't know why all the other details were needed in there. That was kind of rude. That journalist is rude.
I have in this particular tournament, I have the most points in our division, so I got the number 1 seed.
Because you beat up a lot of people?
Because I did well at the Cornhusker State Games and in the tournament here in Omaha.
Because you bribed the commissioner of this conference?
No, it's all in the up and up. You know, okay. I earned those points. I got second place twice. So those got me a good amount of points.
So because
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Almost. I wish I was 40.
Because this is your Arch Madness, what Missouri Valley Conference team do you best represent?
Well, I mean, the low-hanging fruit answer is fruit answer is Creighton because I'm from Omaha. But in terms of trying to go in terms of play style, man, I haven't watched a lot of Missouri Valley basketball in the last decade, if I'm being honest.
Just go back to your days. Go back to old school MVC.
You know, I'm not like a Southern Illinois. I'm not like a grimy grinder type. Like that's not really me. You know,
Are you a force your opponent into mistakes?
So my biggest assets are I have a pretty good serve for my skill level and pretty good forehand. And a lot of people struggle with my slice backhand. So I would say I'm like an offensive player, kind of offensive minded player. I'm not one of those like just play defense and wait for somebody to make a mistake. So I mean, honestly, still the answer still might be Creighton. Kind of
that's what I thought. It kind of sounded that way.
Some offensive firepower and just kind of trying to outscore everybody.
Dang. What gear are you wearing? Are you sponsored or you're branded?
I'll be honest. I'm pretty Nike pilled on the tennis gear. Okay. They have their old school Nike court logo. I don't know, Rico, if you can look that up real quick and bring it on the screen. It is, I think, the best looking tennis logo out there.
Okay.
And so that's the way I go with I do almost entirely Nike gear.
Okay, but don't forget, you do need to bring some Miller North stuff for you, so that way you can report and be I did this for the Stangs.
I'll get the hat. I'll bring some of my gear that I bought this week at the pro shop there. So we'll get it done.
Will you cry and say if you win? Let's say you win. Will you cry and be like, I did this for 144th and Pacific? 144 gang.
Probably not.
Who's the first person you're thinking?
Ooh, good question.
I'll just be like, listen, I want to thank all my friends over at Hurrdat Sports Live.
Bang.
You know, so that's the Nike court logo.
That rocks.
I love that logo. So that's
it does look like a country's, like a nation's flag of some kind.
It does a little bit, yeah. But that's the logo I rock on most of my gear.
That rocks. Yeah. Looks good. Well, we had something else planned that we were going to talk about.
Yeah, we didn't get to it.
We'll talk about it later. We'll get to it later. It's fine.
Will you invite me and Austin to nationals with you?
I will invite you. I am not paying.
Damn it.
Where nationals? Miami or
either Arizona or Florida.
Oh, Arizona or Florida. What time of year is this? March?
It's late February, early March.
Ooh,
depends on the year. You might be able to go.
I might be able to.
Are you going to try and report?
Listen, if your coach sends me enough videos, I will report this, and then I can accompany it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, Anna, I need to go.
No, I have not named my rackets Corn Raider. They're just, I go by the string tension. That's how
You can call him champion after this weekend.
Let's hope so. We'll cross our fingers. Speaking of champions, Mike Sautter coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
Yeah, I was definitely following the news. I had talks with Danny a lot, and we're going day by day, but whatever happens, happens. But I think whatever is best for anyone, I'm going to be happy with. So, yeah, I'm excited because, redshirting was the goal, but then I wouldn't be able to play. And I think getting reps, even if it's just a little bit in games, it will help too. Just boost my confidence on the court too. And I'm excited.
They're such a good program, and they have a good team every single year. They're very consistent. Obviously, the last time we played them, it didn't go our way, and that's okay. That's sports. But
I grew up in the Big 12 and played here in the Big 12, and so that Texas rivalry runs pretty deep. And
I think just opening the season with such a strong team and a game against such a strong team is going to be super exciting, not only for us, but for the fans as well. Like, people want to see great matchups. They want to see good volleyball. And so getting to do that, especially at such a big venue, I think it's super exciting.
I thought it was a great call by both myself and Jarrett to renew that and showcase the sport even more. And they have everybody returning. We have most everybody returning, so it should be a really fun match.
Texas has like a bunch of amazing players, and it's going to be a great game for sure.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Next Gen Male Medical. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. We are joined now by Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports and NAB Preps. Mike, how are we doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Tired, but I'm doing well.
I thought that it was going to end at well. I got very nervous. Mike, blink twice if you are in need of assistance.
No, I'm fine. It's been a grind this week, but it's okay.
Where are we at this fine Friday morning?
Where I'm at currently, in a parking lot in Fremont.
Where were we at this fine Friday morning?
I was at Lakeview in north of Columbus, Columbus. So that's where I was this morning. Yesterday was at Pierce and Humphrey St. Francis, the proper name.
You know that that's not the name of the school, Mike.
I don't care what the school is called now, because they got screwed on that school change. So
you tell him, Mike, stand up for the people of Humphrey.
They did. So I was there yesterday, and and then stayed in Columbus last night, and then woke up and went to a pretty wet practice at Lakeview this morning.
But good news, you get to head to the greatest place on earth, Miller North High School today. Like, how excited are you about that? Come on.
Yeah, Millard North and Mount Michael today. So this afternoon and night, or evening, whatever it is, and night. So I already text Coach Burrell. I was like, hey, if anything changes on your scheduled time or whatever, let me know because I'm planning on being there. So, yep, I'm excited about that. I wish this lightning and rain and heat would kind of just go away because it's really thrown a wrench into some plans here. So, but that's just part of the deal, and that's what we got to roll with. So I missed out on going to Bennington. Was that yesterday morning because lightning, and had to pivot to inside the gym to watch Millard South practice on Wednesday morning, which wasn't near as fun or good as I wanted it to be. So I didn't get as good of a look, obviously, because you're in a gym and it's a little bit small. But yeah, it's fine. We're making the best of the situation. That's all we can do.
Mike, you said
we are. I mean, you just got to roll with the punches. You got to pivot, and that's just how it works. So I know coaches are a little bit frustrated on the weather and stuff like that, but it just got to pivot and make adjustments and do what we can. I was supposed to be at Waverly on Wednesday afternoon to actually watch them practice, and wasn't able to. So just is what it is.
Mike, in terms of what you're bringing up there, just about, and the added part about, the heat and some of the practices that have to get moved either to nighttime or because of the storms, everything's kind of being moved and adjusted, especially here on the eastern slate of the state. Have you talked with a lot of the coaches about how maybe far behind that puts them in terms of where they want to be for fall practice? Is that something that's kind of been a continuous theme through some of the camps that you've stopped by so far?
No, everyone seems to be kind of okay with it. They do so much in the summer now. Like, there's so much football going on in the summer and install and stuff. And obviously they have like a week that they can have a full padded camp, and they've been doing so much. So I don't think they're like super behind. I mean, obviously they'd probably like to be outside or, have their regular schedule, but I don't no one said anything like that yet. So no.
Mike, as you've gone through these different teams, like what are some, and I know with the weather and some like being indoors versus outdoors, it can be really challenging, but what are some of the things you feel like you can learn aside from personnel, talking to coaches, things like that? Like, what do you find most valuable about going to these practices?
Well, I personally love going to practices because when you go to a game, for me anyway, like I'm not focusing on the line play as much because I'm trying to get the shot of the touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. So, or the big play or whatever it may be. So I spend a lot of time looking at particularly the offensive line or just non-skill guys. That's what I like to spend most of my time doing at these practices, because then it just, in high school football, man, you got to have linemen, and they have to be a cohesive unit and all of those things. So in order to be successful, so that's what I look for the most. Most of it is just not just are they big, but can they move their feet and those sort of things. So I really use the time to really player evaluation type of things. So I don't care what their playbook looks like or anything like that. That's why I go to practices the first 2 weeks, because primarily, when it gets to game week, they're working on the opponent, and I do not care about what a game plan. I don't care about your game plan. Don't. I mean, I don't want to know. I don't want to.
I put that on a shirt.
Well, I just don't like. It's not. I don't want to be in the way. You know what I mean? Like so. So that's why I've just always done the first kind of 2 weeks, and then I guess last year and this year I'll go the Monday of game week, but that's kind of fine because they're not getting into the nitty gritty of game plan quite yet.
Mike, as you're kind of looking through at doing what you're talking about, the player evaluations and stuff like that, how often, and you can give names if you want to, I don't know how comfortable you are since you're putting out videos on all this stuff anyway, but how often do you see somebody that you weren't necessarily aware of going into, or that you get like kind of surprised by and you're like, oh man, they're actually moving a lot better, or this player might be a lot better this year than I thought they were going to be?
Every time. So no, like every time I'm like, no, and it's just good. Like I was at Pierce yesterday, and I'm like, and you know, I call coaches every time. I call coaches every time, and before I go to a practice, I like to call and have a pre-call and talk about names and players and kids, and you know, like, okay, I have this. Tell me, you know, am I missing anything? And they generally tell me a name. And that yesterday when I was at Pierce, there were 2 freshman linemen that are going to be dudes for them. Like one, I have his name written down, I forget off the top of my head, but is going to be a guard. And he's probably going to be a Division I guard or center at like in 5 years from now. So going and watching that and doing that like totally helps me kind of know about kids beforehand. So, and even I look at like today, Ryland Verghese is the quarterback at Lakeview. He had a huge year last year, and this year they're going to rely a lot on him, and he's going to have to use his legs more and things like that. So, and he's gotten a little bit bigger and stronger. Also Pierce, by the way, back to them. Remember the guy that threw all the touchdowns to Ben Bramer, Abe Schulting?
Mm-hmm.
His little brother Brody is going to be a sophomore, and he was kind of forced into action last year. That's going to be a guy that is going to put up a lot of. He's going to be a guy. Like he's a sophomore this year. He's going to be a dude. So like that'll be a name in C1 that people are going to have to really pay attention to down the road here, if you will.
Mike, staying in C1, you were at Lakeview today, this morning. You went to Pierce. I know you're going to be making your way out to Central Nebraska. You're not stopping by Kearney Catholic, correct?
No, yeah, just didn't work. I asked for their schedule, you know, and stuff, and he sent it to me, but it just isn't going to work. Like I'm just not going to be able to make it. Wahoo. So the C1 schools will be went to Ashland Greenwood. Lakeview, Pierce, and Wahoo. So those 4.
I guess my question for you then is maybe you can only base it off of the schools that you see, or maybe just off of conversations you've had or heard. But how deep is maybe the title contenders or teams that can make a semifinal in C1? Is it, you know, what's that number look like for you?
Oh, I think it's pretty high. I think there's like 5-6 teams, maybe 7 that can do that. Auburn is one that people are not talking about enough. Sydney obviously is going to be really good.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be really, really good. Wahoo lost a lot, but has a really good coach and program, has been, you know, built forever and all that. So they'll just kind of plug and replace. I loved Pierce yesterday. I think they're going to be. I think people are not talking about them near enough in Class C1. Looking at their schedule, they've got Norfolk Catholic and Lakeview, and then Fort Calhoun, Arlington, things like that. Like I legit think they have a chance to go 9-0 and in the regular season. They are so big up front and have like they could go like 10-15 deep up front. Like it's a lot. So really like them. And Auburn is another team. Like I saw them at Plattsmouth's camp in June, and they look pretty athletic too. So that's a school in C1 to kind of keep an eye on that people aren't really kind of talking about enough.
Mike, I'm curious because you keep bringing up the offensive linemen. I know we were at Creighton Prep on Monday. We were both impressed by what they've got in the trenches. It feels like depth on the trenches has just increasingly gotten better across the state, really. Is that a trend you've noticed, or is that something new? What's kind of making that a bigger deal here?
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of always been a thing. I think maybe this year more than years past that I've done this, I'm just paying more attention to it because it just matters so much. Like, yeah, if you have the one, 2-year starter, 3-year starter lineman, if that guy goes down, like, what do you have back behind him? Like, what else do you got? What if guys get nicked up? What if, like, you have a super long drive on offense, especially in, like, Class B and below. Guys play both ways. So, like, how much break, rest can they get and all of those things? Also, I think we focus a lot during the high school season on, oh, this guy scored this many touchdowns and this guy made this, had this many yards rushing or receiving or whatever. But we never talk about the people that actually get it done for them to get that. So that's, I think, maybe why I just harp on it a little bit more this time of year. Granted, we're still, looking at quarterbacks and stuff. Like, yeah. I'm very disappointed that I haven't been able to make it to Bennington yet, because Will Goots is the running back coming back, and Ty Bufakeo are two dudes, and, like, wanted to see how much better they got. And I mean, I guess I saw them at 7-on-7 in June, but in a practice situation, it just is a little different. So, yeah, long answer, but there's your answer.
Do you think that offensive line trend will translate into recruitment? Maybe not this year, but maybe for the next couple of years, because I know you've got like Micah Santiago, and you've got Justin Parrish Jr. at Westside, Luke Wellman you just saw at Lakeview. There's a couple of
he's not there anymore, by the way.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Never mind. There you go. The more you know. But still, I mean, like, there's just a couple of different names that kind of come up on that offensive line side. Like, Vignes is at Pavilion La Vista. Do you think that we could see by the end of this year or maybe next year's cycle that more linemen are kind of being recognized and might pick up some more, maybe not even Power 4 offers necessarily, but just more collegiate notice?
Yeah, I don't, from what I've seen, there isn't a ton of, like, power conference guys come in, right? So, but yeah, like, everyone's always going to need linemen. We just don't really grow like 6'6", 310-pound, offensive tackles around here that much. So they can move, like that. Unless, I guess, you're Barrett Kittrell, but he's not 6'6". So, and he's going to be an offensive guard or center. So, but no, yeah, I mean, the trend's probably a little higher. I would say, like, part of that too is, like, 5-for-5 is going to be a huge thing. So what the local schools, like your Kearney and Wayne, and all the GPAC schools, they've really been able to, like, hit it pretty good in recent years. And I would expect that trend to follow that trend. Northwest Mo has gotten back to Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really nice job in the last couple cycles. So,
well, and UNK's recruiting locally again too, which
right,
is a big difference.
Yeah, that's what I said. Kearney.
I know, but you can't throw Mo in there and not double down on UNK.
I said Kearney first.
Yeah, but come on, say UNK. Give it its proper title.
No, just like Omaha, it's Omaha, not UNO.
That's actually not true, but that's fine. You didn't go there.
Well, that's how I'm just going to refer to them.
He's just doing that to spite me now.
Yes. So, no, but those teams have done a really good job in the last couple of cycles. So I would expect more of that, because I do think that kids and parents and whatever are kind of being a little more realistic about it, especially because, like, I mean, Nebraska isn't taking walk-ons anymore and all of that. So that really matters. And so, yeah.
Mike, I think one of the questions that I get asked a lot is about Millard South. Obviously, you had limited ability to see them with them being indoors, but the question that I get most of the time is, hey, is Millard South going to be as dominant as they were last year? And my first answer is just no, because it'd be almost impossible to replicate the season they had last year. But I think people see Trey Taylor coming in, they see Tay Ellis coming in, and they see a bunch of still really talented guys, and they go, well, why would it be any different? When I ask you that question, why would it be different from last year to this year other than just, hey, it's really unlikely you're going to only give up 40 points again next season?
It's a hard no, first of all. Like it's a hard no. No, they're not. When we look back, so after all the hate and vitriol and whatever is kind of gone away, 10 years from now, we look back at this Millard South team that just finished last year, we will be having the conversation of like, that's probably the best team we've ever seen. People don't want to admit that now because it's like, oh, they recruited and da-da-da, whatever, like, get off my lawn. So that, like, but as the time goes on and we get away from it, they're going to be in that conversation, hands down, no question. You don't have, they have, they had 32 seniors, I think. 24 of them are playing college football right now at some level. That's insane. So,
and like half of those are D1, right?
Yeah. So we're like, what are we doing? Like, so it's one of those situations where like really hard to do that again. 1, 2, their schedule is going to be a lot harder because of the new scheduling that Class A is doing, and they're not going to have, they're not going to play like, a Lincoln High or something, right? Like, and I don't want to do that to Lincoln High, but like people know what I mean.
There's a gap there.
It's a massive gap. So no. And are they going to be as talented? Hey, Trey Taylor, Tay Ellis, like they got some guys, like for sure they're going to be good. But they're not gonna be near as dominant at all. Like, could they still win a state championship and win 3 in a row? Yeah. Will they just roll through everybody? No, absolutely not.
Mike, do you think that, and I'm comparing two great teams, so maybe it's a poor distinction here, but is this year's Millard South team closer to where you assume the preseason projection was for last year's Millard South team, or 23 West Side? Because both those teams were equally great. Both of them put up, insane stats and everything. But I think a lot of people would say the dominance that Millard South did last year was the heavy senior class, all that other stuff. Do you have a comparison? Or maybe there's another one that you could think of where we're entering the season and a lot of people have the preseason expectation for a Millard South.
Yeah, I don't think it's a slam dunk by any means that Millard South is just so much better. Oh my gosh. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't. I've seen West Side. I've seen Prep. Going to see Millard North tonight or this afternoon. I don't believe that. I think that the gap isn't quite as far as it has been. I mean, people that just see. Listen, Trey Taylor is amazing. He is so good. He is so good. But like, he can't do everything, every play, and they're definitely not going to give up 40 whatever points they did. I don't think that anyway. They have great players, great coaches, all of that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like, it's not that far of a gap. I think like, West Side could definitely beat them. Maybe like we'll see. They play week 9. That's a long way away from now. Someone could get hurt or something could happen. So, but I think it's really close. I don't think at all. Like even 23 West Side was pretty good. So
yeah,
I don't think that compares.
Okay.
In my mind, no.
All right. Yeah.
There you go. That is Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports, NAB Preps. Mike, appreciate the time as always. And enjoy your visit to Millard North today. I know it'll be impossible not to. So I just hope you have a great time. Tell everybody hi for me.
Yeah, you guys want to see something cool?
Sure. This is classic Mike. We're trying to end a segment, and there goes Mike. He's just...
I'm at a truck stop. So. Just
like
for you guys. I pulled over just for you guys.
We appreciate that.
This is like when you show your dad how to work a camera, and he's just walking around teaching you new things.
That's not true.
Mike, thank you for making special exceptions for us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, bye.
We'll talk
Bye,
to you later.
Mike.
That is Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports, NAB Pros.
At least you got him to smile.
I don't know
We
what
did, yeah. No, he was just so sleepy, and we apologize. I know all the people in the chat were saying he was a little soft. I think he was just tired. I think he was just whispering. I think that's all it was. We tried our best. We had to work.
When he said, I don't know what I was expecting when he said, "You guys want to see something cool?" It wasn't that.
I'm at a truck stop. Whoa. I've never seen that before.
I was like, whoa, truck stop.
I was like, whoa. I'm with him, though. I think the Millard side, and I've said this with you. I've said this before. I was curious his thoughts on, if there was just a natural projection of, these other great teams we've seen over the past few years. That gap has shrunk significantly.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a couple of teams, I'm even surprised going to some practices and stuff, how much more I have gained in appreciation for other programs and other teams, and how seriously those other teams are taking this upcoming season. Last year, it didn't feel like it was such like a, woe was us, whatever, the whole season's over. Everyone's going to play at least 9 high school football games, right? And they're going to go out there and they're going to compete. I do remember last year going to Omaha North, who was maybe a top 5 team going into the preseason last year, and their main focus was week 1. If we can beat Westside, everything's in front of us, whatever, all that sort of stuff. But they were realistic too. They were just like, we don't have the same guys. We aren't running the same numbers that another team in Class A is. Yeah. Everybody this year is not talking about that, at least in their own camps and internally. I think that that's a very refreshing place from where we were a year ago.
I do think there is a sense that it's a lot more open for the taking than it was in the last couple years. Probably last 3 years. I mean, going from West Side to Millard South to Millard South, I think there was a sense of like, hey, this is not inevitability, but like there was a pretty good sense of, hey, 2023, it was definitely going to be West Side. Right. 2024, I felt like people thought it was going to be either West Side or Millard South. And then last year, it was definitely going to be Millard South, right? So I think there was just this sense of inevitability there, where this year, I think people think they have a shot. I think there's probably 4 or 5 teams that legitimately think, hey, we've got a shot at this. We can make something happen here. And we have closed the gap on, maybe we don't have a Trey Taylor, but we think we're a little bit better along the lines, or we like our secondary better than what their secondary is, or we think we can score with them. So I think there's a lot of, like, I don't know that Millard South's going to give up 41 points in a game, but I think they're going to come closer to giving up 41 points in a game than they will giving up 41 points on the season.
It's probably a good way to put that. Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Millard South could be in some shootouts this year.
I'm just saying, if Trey and Tay really wanted to, slam dunk a title, they should have moved to Sydney. Just saying. They would have went C1, it would have been over. But it's fine.
It's a longer commute to Lincoln that way.
I thought it was about winning titles.
I think it's about being closer to Lincoln. That might be
whatever. It's fine. I actually would have been irate if they ended up at like a C1 school in Lincoln.
That was in Sydney.
The funniest scenario is they go to like Parkview Christian, just play 6-man.
That would be hilarious.
6-man wouldn't know what to do.
No, also Trey would have to play defense, and I don't think that's happening.
No, that would never.
I don't think Trey's playing defense.
You get all your games done early, and you'd be able to go back to Link. You go to Nebraska and do all your things because there's no lights on the field.
There you go. See, you play at 2:00 every day.
I think if Trey Taylor had gotten in a situation where he's like, I'm going to have to play safety this year, Matt Rule would have made some phone calls. Like, absolutely not. There's 0% chance this is happening.
I don't know that there's ever been a direct line from Parkview Christian to Memorial Stadium, but who knows?
There would have been.
There have been.
There would have been. You'd be like, you get his ass off the field right now.
What if he's a really good safety, though?
Playing Santee, all right? We're getting him out of there.
What if he's like a 5-star safety?
I don't care.
In 6-man? Yes, maybe. Maybe.
If it's like a 10-star safety, like, come on.
There's a D1 commit in 6-man this year, all right?
That's awesome.
Long snapper.
Well, it's a little bit different.
He's going to Wake Forest.
Good for him, man. I'm happy for him. Really proud.
You know where Oshkosh is? Garden County Eagles, baby.
I have heard of Oshkosh.
Oshkosh.
Oshkosh. Sorry,
Oshkosh.
It's a little lisp there. It's fine. Osh. I was like, I was channeling my inner Lou Holtz there.
Oh, where's Lou Holtz right now? That's still one of the funniest things in the world. I know. Still one of the funniest things.
No, I'm familiar with Oshkosh. I could not locate it on a map for you.
That's probably fine.
But I've heard of it.
I'm proud of you.
Progress.
That's a win. That's a win.
That's halfway there.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We'll be right back. More Hurrdat Sports Live right after this.
I've known Harper since I was like 12, so we've definitely been able to build a bond for a while, but she's been amazing and she's one of my best friends here, and I think it's really cool to see us go from her being one of my idols to now one of my best friends here, and she's been a huge person that I can lean on. She's been amazing. She's definitely taken me under her wing. Yeah, I think it's so cool seeing how much she's grown since she's gotten here. It's like, I don't know, I'm so proud of her. She's done a lot since she's been here, and she's definitely changed women's sports, and I think that that's super cool, and it's not easy to do, and it's not easy to be in the spotlight like she is, so I think that's super cool, and I admire her so much.
Your schedule is filling up. Get back to busy at Edwards Kia. Lease the 2027 Kia Seltos S starting at just $269 a month. Ready for every run on the calendar. 2 great leases, 1 less thing to worry about. We've also got the 2026 Kia Sportage EX starting at $249 a month. Don't wait. Get back to busy this August at Edwards Kia.
I had anticipated that several months ago because I still follow college sports and I'm following what's going on. And so what we decided to do, instead of waiting for the draft to count on a couple players, and again, we'd have a shot at a couple great players, especially from Nebraska, we better fill our roster and then we'll go from there. Again, in pros, what's different in college, you can cut players, so you can adjust rosters a lot easier than in college. So what's going to happen is a lot of these guys, they're not going to decide till the end of the year. And then the colleges are going to have to decide, can we fund and continue to pay them with NIL because we got all these other freshmen coming in. So Danny's going to be losing sleep, for example, over, do I keep that senior class? How are we going to manage this roster? And there are roster limits now in college. So it is going to be interesting to see what happens, but we really can't count on the draft this year because it's, and again, we're going to have a low draft number. So we're going to just have to wait and see, and again, be ready to adjust when that draft happens.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Austin. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports HQ. Reminding you, go to unionomaha.com. There is a Union Omaha match on Sunday, August 16th at Morrison Stadium, 6 p.m. It's Pride Night as well. Make sure you get out there, get to unionomaha.com, get your tickets for that. It's always a great time to go out and see Union Omaha. If I'm lucky, I might be able to make it back in time. It's going to be close. It'll
Sunday?
be close, yeah. So depends on what time I play on Sunday. We don't know yet.
Okay.
So maybe I'll make it back for Union Omaha. See all you fine folks out there.
Win the chip and then worry about the rest.
I know. I'm not worried about the timing. I'm not
Come
worried
back
about the timing.
with your shield or on it.
I will say I was going to text you and just be like, hey, I may need you to prep the show for Monday, depending on what time I get back. So
it's not like, true to form, we haven't gotten to any of the topics that you've wanted to this week, really.
Hold on. Let me see what we've gotten, if we've gotten any topics today.
Hey, by the way, what's the bracket format?
So it is single elimination in terms of winning the championship, but then there's a consolation bracket to determine third and fourth place as well. But it's a straight bracket. It's not like a round robin or anything like that. It's just normal bracket.
So
play.
2 days for sure for you?
Yeah, you get 3 guaranteed matches or 2 guaranteed matches.
Okay.
But because I got a first round bye, I think I have 3 guaranteed matches. So there you go.
There you go. The more you know.
The more you know. Let's see. What have we got to this week? We haven't. Okay, yeah, we haven't gotten to a lot of this stuff.
So that's on me. That's on me.
That's totally on me. That's okay. A lot of this stuff we can get to next week or not. There was one thing that I wanted to get to.
Yep.
I'm going to give you a choice. Say heads or tails.
Okay.
You pick.
All right.
Heads or tails?
Tails.
Okay. Tails is the Hall of Fame. Heads was Freaks List. Do you want to change your pick?
I do. I want to talk freaks.
All right, we're going to talk freaks. So Bruce Feldman puts out his college football freaks list.
Why'd you give me a
every
choice then? Why'd you just tell me?
I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun.
You gave me double the choice. I didn't like that. Was this No Country for Old Men? I didn't like that at all. What if you lost in a coin flip? That's another movie that DB would be like, no, who's the bad guy?
Javier Bardem. Good. Listen, he's making some really good points here.
The guy who kills a gas station clerk, like randomly? That's the bad guy?
No, that guy survived.
Oh, you're right. That guy survived. Yeah.
Yeah, because he won the coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody else that dies in that movie.
That is true.
Spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah. Wow.
My bad.
Terrible way to die, too, by the way. Oh.
What? With
the air
the
compressor.
Honestly, I think that's a great way to die. I don't think.
You show that movie to Ryan and say, hey, this is how they kill animals?
I think painless, probably, right? Like you wouldn't feel anything.
You would feel a lot, I think.
I don't think so. I think you're dead like instantly.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I've never done it, so I want to know.
Because DB drugged me to a beef processing plant, I saw this happen. Like, I think they go down pretty quick. I think it's pretty instantaneous.
Do they do the bolts or do they do the compressor?
I don't remember which
I
one
didn't
they
know
use.
that they had a compressor for animals, but
That's
usually
where he get it from. That's where he got it from. It's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's a point where Tommy Lee Jones, it seems like he's going to figure it out because he's talking about like, you ever seen them put cows down? They put the
Oh,
air
that's
compressor
right. Jeez, I'm remembering. I need to rewatch this movie. I might try to do that this weekend. We'll see if it's on somewhere.
I mean, I'm sure it's somewhere.
Anyway, speaking of freaks,
Like
we
Javier-
almost got off topic. We almost did.
Like Javier Bardem. He's kind of a freak in that movie.
A little bit.
Bruce Feldman puts out his annual freaks list for college football, which is one of my favorite traditions that he does. I think he's been doing this, I think he said, for almost 20 years or over 20 years. And I'm a big, I love the NFL Combine. I like watching World's Strongest Man. I like this type of stuff when you're just talking about physical freaks of nature. So I'm a big fan of the freaks list. But there was a couple things that I noticed on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, 0 players playing for the University of Nebraska on this list. But 3 players from the state of Nebraska on this list.
Okay.
Which is, and 2 in the top 11.
Which is good.
Which is very good.
Yeah.
Unfortunate they're not playing for the University of Nebraska.
And for Big Ten schools.
Yes, you know what's funny is all 3 of the guys from the state of Nebraska that are on this list play Nebraska this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought
no,
I thought Trace was from North Dakota State. He is from North Dakota.
He's from North
he?
Dakota.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So you have Cade Piper, who Peeper?
Yeah. Oh, you can say either.
My apologies. I apologize.
I'll be honest. I don't really know. I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
I think it is Piper though. I think you're probably correct, but I've always said Peeper just to be different. So.
So you corrected me on your own weird, like,
yeah.
Okay.
It's like when people say pecan or pecan. I always say pecan.
Like it's Caribbean.
Never went that far. Caramel.
So Cade Piper.
Now you're just gonna double clutch
plays for Iowa. He's from Norfolk.
Yes.
What I will say about all three of these guys, though, and I do think this is interesting and important. They all three committed while Scott Frost was the head coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then also Cade's recruitment journey, he was committed to North Dakota State for some time, got his Iowa offer, decommitted, and then recommitted to Iowa. I don't think Nebraska...
All in like the same day.
Yes. I don't think Nebraska was a big player in his recruitment, if I remember right.
And he committed to Iowa about 3 weeks before Rule took the job here at Nebraska. So there's that. Devin Jackson and Trey Staten both committed the year before Rule took the job at Nebraska.
Yep.
So,
and I do remember Devin Jackson's recruitment as well too. That I don't think
Nebraska was never.
It was never a conversation. Yeah, and remember too that was that time frame as well. That a lot of Omaha was not interested in Nebraska because there was a couple of Bellevue West. There was Caden Helms that went to Oklahoma. There was was it Riley Tucker
that went to Auburn.
That went to Auburn as a tight end as well from Bellevue West. That was also, I mean, Danny Kaelin got it. Ben Bramer.
That was Zane Flores.
Yes, Zane Flores as well. So yeah, I mean, there was a lot of. Now Bramer obviously was the peer, so outside of the Omaha Metro, but that was a huge story all the time. That Omaha just could not get
2021 class in particular. A little some in 2022 as well, but that 21 class in particular with Devin Jackson in it, that was a huge storyline of just Nebraska not doing well in state.
It soured a lot of grapes.
Absolutely.
Locally.
I mean, there were
some schools, there were some coaching staffs that maybe still feel this way just because of the N and the red that walks in. That Rule staff has had to repair a lot of relationships because they just never showed up. They just didn't go.
You know, say what you will about Ed Foley as special teams coach and whatever, but like, remember all the like selfies and stuff? He's like, I'm eating a Runza at this place and now I'm at this high school. A lot of that was trying to repair damage done by previous staffs. Like, say what, like, I tell people this a lot. The Scott Frost thing, it wasn't really about the losing, right? We could have, like, yes, he still would have gotten fired eventually, right? But we could have forgiven just losing. It was all of the other things involved with how that process happened, where he's now just like, you can't come back now. Like, you don't get to come back here anymore, right? It was, you know, all the accusations about whether it's margaritas or golden tea or gate 25 or whatever, right? All those pretty well sourced and strangely continuous rumors that seem to be the same every time. A lot of it was, though, part of that was the in-state recruiting shift, the narrative shift of, oh, these guys don't want to play for Nebraska. And it coincided with a group of players that was pretty good. Like, you had a group of players, Watts that went to Notre Dame. That was a big one as well. They got Betts, they missed on Watts, right? And famously, Betts' career didn't work out here either. But like Xavier Watts is one where you go, man, that dude's really, really good.
Would have been a difference maker.
Yeah, that's a guy that you probably need to lock down in the city of Omaha in the state of Nebraska. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that's one of the things, because the rumors weren't, I don't think, widespread prevalent at the time. Obviously they are now. But the thing that I think started turning a lot of people was just like, hey, we have really good players here. That's not always the case in terms of like high impact, high major players, right? There's always usually a few, but like there was a lot in a few classes there. And I think missing out on some of those guys really kind of soured people on Scott Frost. Like, what's going on here that we have some high level talent that is respected nationally? And they have, I mean, you're right with Devin Jackson. There was never any interest in coming to Nebraska.
Yeah. And let's just like set the record straight, because I know that there will be people that fly into this conversation and we'll try to make a comparison. And listen, this is a very tight line to walk, but there is a difference between what happened, especially with this 2021, 2022 class of Nebraska-based state athletes that moved on, comparative to some of the athletes that we saw that were not offered nor committed to Nebraska in this past cycle. There's a difference between that. And I don't want to say, hey, you know what? There is like a difference in commitment and everything. There's a difference in conversation and there's a difference in communication. Very notably, there was a lot of these players from the 21 and 22 class that ended up on Bruce Feldman's freaks list that are at other Big Ten programs, other significant programs, will play Nebraska later this year, that openly said, I never heard from Nebraska. Now, you don't get that all the time. In a lot of recruitments, you won't get kids that will come out and say, because mostly, especially now, you don't want to burn any bridges. You don't want to make, programs feel bad. You don't want to set aside a chance for you at a second home if that requires you to do, right, later on in your career. I feel very strongly. I have asked a lot of questions, and I feel pretty good about where my sourcing comes from. That's not necessarily the case with Rule staff, with some of the in-state guys that choose
go other places,
or maybe aren't offered. I think the very famous one was when Zane Flores signed to Oklahoma State. He was asked and, had the conversation of, did you ever hear from Nebraska? And he plainly and bluntly just said, no, I never heard. I think if you had that same type of conversations and the openness coming from last year's class, or maybe if there's other kids that have been missed, I think a lot of those conversations have happened, and Nebraska and Rule has said this straight up too, that you can't offer every single kid in the state because most kids will say, yes, your roster limits are different. Everything else is reset, but also Rule wants a certain type of roster. And I think he has been very transparent, open with some of the top kids in the class that say, listen, we want what's best for you because you're from Nebraska, but unfortunately, it's just not a right fit for us. And it's an incredibly difficult conversation to have. And it's an incredibly nuanced conversation to have. And let's be clear, both parties aren't going to walk away from that conversation feeling great. Right? It's a
hard conversation to have.
I would be incredibly offended. I would be incredibly upset if I grew up in this state and I'd always dreamed of wearing the scarlet and cream and I was told, hey, you're just not the right fit for our program for whatever reason.
Especially if you're a Big Ten caliber player.
100%. And if you're going to a school that's similar in competition level or size or whatever.
I mean, Illinois is a great example of this. They got a couple of kids from Miller South last year, Nelson Wheeler and Von Segrin. Those are a couple guys you're like, if you're growing up in Nebraska, that's probably that's tough not to get that Nebraska offer, especially when you end up at a place that is very comparable and maybe even, the results have been better than what Nebraska's had over the last few years. That's a really, really difficult conversation to have. I do think.
But the fact that they're having that conversation at all, I think speaks volumes to
as opposed to just not engaging.
Yes.
Right?
Ignoring, and you said this perfectly a couple of weeks ago, but having an awkward conversation once saves you a million what ifs for the rest of your life, right?
Absolutely.
And these are incredibly difficult and impassioned conversations you probably have to have. But if they are happening, which I believe most of these are, I think that's incredibly fruitful for just how you are perceived for future recruitment cycles. Because yes, a coach may be like, listen, I don't like how this was treated. I don't like how this was done. But the fact that you went out of your way just to say, listen, we think that you're a great player. We want what's best for you, for your career. It's just not with Nebraska. And we're really sorry about that.
And I think one of the things, and DB talked about this, one of the things that I think this coaching staff takes into account more so than most other coaching staffs, especially when recruiting in-state talent, but really with any of their talent, right, is do you have the mentality to be successful here? Because it is different for in-state recruits, right? It's different for Carter Nelson to be here than if he had gone to Georgia or Notre Dame.
100%.
It's different for Jet Tamala to be at Alabama than if he had come here to play at Nebraska. It's a very different experience because even if especially if you're not ready, right? If you're a player with a lot of, Carter Nelson's a great example of this. A ton of upside, all the athleticism in the world. We're seeing now, we think, him possibly having an opportunity to break through in his third year in the program. But that's a guy that, especially with the star rating and the other interest from programs outside of Nebraska, you look at, and in the walls of this state, we expect where's Carter Nelson? Where's Carter Nelson? It's he wasn't ready. Tim talked about this. DB talked about this. A lot of people who follow this closely, who followed Carter Nelson's career closely in high school and follow recruiting closely, were like, hey, he's a really great prospect that is not ready to contribute right away. Because he is going to have the adjustment of going from 8-man football to 11-man football, of having the adjustment of going.
He's got to learn a position.
He's got to learn a position. It's funny when we talk about Isaiah Mosey and we're like, well, yeah, he had to switch from wide receiver to running back. That's a big switch. like, I don't know that Carter Nelson wasn't playing tight end.
Yeah.
In 8-man football, really, right?
It was not a true tight end position.
You know what I mean? Like there was not.
And this isn't you being 8-man football.
No,
or
it's just
whatever,
it was a
but yes,
different thing.
yes,
He was asked to do different things. He had to adjust to literally different style of football, or different form of football. He had to adjust to a different position, and he had to adjust to. And a lot of guys have to go through this, but even more so for him because he was playing at a smaller school. Of not always being the biggest, strongest, fastest guy on the team,
right,
or on the field at any given time, right? Like so. You can sit here and not everybody is wired to go through that transition while being an in-state guy. You can kind of hide other places, right? Like if Carter Nelson had gone to Iowa, for instance, tight end U, right?
Yep.
He could have sat for 2 or 3 years and then he would have popped off and would be like, oh, Carter Nelson.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a aspect of anonymity when you go other places where you're like, oh, look, he made it. Look at him. Another Iowa tight end. But we don't go through the microscope of, well, why isn't he playing as a true freshman? Or why isn't he playing? Or what are we doing with position changes? All that kind of stuff that happens that we hyper focus on with in-state guys.
Yeah, take it out of the context of you and I with, hyper ventilating over this, program and having to have, every inch of data that you can to know all the guys on the roster, even the people in our chat, the people who comment on the questions about Tim about, oh, who's this guy? Who's this third stringer? If you're, John and Julie Smith from Sandhills or, from Dunning, Nebraska, you might know Carter Nelson because he was a kid from Nebraska, right? But you might not know who Claude Puma is.
Yeah.
And some people in our chat.
Or Luke Sorensen.
Exactly. Like you and I would have the conversation and just be like, oh, who's more important if we had to pit these two together?
Yeah.
But they want to know some of these other players, but they know who Carter Nelson is because his name was someone from a kid down the street or
you saw him play in high school.
Oh, well, the person I work with is his aunt or, something like that.
There's real personal connection to people from the state. And because it's not a huge state, you probably know somebody that knows Carter Nelson or that watched him play in high school or whatever. And you sit there and you go, okay, so you just have a totally different lens that you view these in-state prospects through. And the fact is, and this is not a disparaging comment on any kid that leaves the state. Some kids, A, don't want to deal with it, which I totally understand. And B, just are not at a place in their growth as people where they're prepared to deal with it.
Is the right example of this actually Jordy Ball?
Oh, that's a really good example.
Because she's been pretty open about her reasoning to go to Oklahoma, why she came back to Nebraska. But I know it was said a lot of times in our chat during the softball run and everything with her name obviously exploding to become the limelight of college softball, but the softball program was under a lot of different turmoil at that time, and a lot of it internal.
Yeah.
So why be the local savior and put yourself in that situation when you could go to a national champion program? And again, everybody at Oklahoma would be like, oh, great, we got another number one player. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
there's a lot of examples of this, right? There's where you have these players that are phenomenal prospects. But it's a different, honestly, Dylan Raiola is a really good example of this.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola going to Ohio State or Georgia, the two places he was committed to before Nebraska, is like, oh, got another 5-star quarterback, number 1 and 2 quarterback in the class. Great. We'll see in a couple years after we've got, after Gunnar Stockton leaves or after whoever, right?
Yeah.
After whoever else leaves. And at Nebraska, even though he's local, even though he's not from here, right? Like we understand
the name is familiar.
Yes, he is a guy that has a different reputation in Nebraska than he's got anywhere else because of his family, right? So you sit here and you go, okay, Dylan Raiola doesn't have that option at Nebraska that he has at an Ohio State or a Georgia or even an Oregon now. Like there is, I don't know if this year is going to be good for Dylan or not, but there's a chance that it's the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
Right? Of just being away from the fishbowl, the microscope. I don't think he was probably prepared as a true freshman to deal with all that came from being a legacy 5-star starting quarterback at the University of Nebraska. I don't think that's saying anything bad about him.
The student section bowed to him when he would come out on the field.
I just don't I don't think he was prepared.
Yeah, it's a lot to handle.
And maybe that's what he wanted. Maybe that's why he came here. He talked about
it was part of the recruitment. We know that.
Yeah.
That was
like, hey, come be the guy that gets this right. So maybe that appealed to him at the time, but it also feels different when you're actually going through it. And maybe Oregon will be the worst thing that ever happened to him because he's like, well, I'm not the dude anymore. You know, like it very well could go either way. But I think it is fair to say, like, he would have had a very different experience going to another place where his name didn't carry the weight. Like, the Raiola name carries way more weight in Nebraska than it does anywhere else. And so having that experience in Nebraska is very different than having it at Georgia or Ohio State or Oregon. That's probably the most visible example, even though he's not an in-state kid, of what these in-state kids go through, right? Like, Caleb Benning's a great example too. That's obviously a legacy in-state kid, phenomenal high school football player. And so people, the last couple of years, myself included, because I saw him play in high school, and obviously I know the family really well, and I go, I mean, I think Caleb should be playing. Like, he's a really good football player. Like, what's the holdup here? And that's not an experience he has if he goes to Iowa or Wisconsin or Minnesota or wherever else he wanted to go.
Because then it's just you. Yes.
Then it's just him dealing with, hey, let's kind of get our way through the roster and whatever, and let's climb our way up the depth chart. But I think Caleb was the best player in the state his senior year, and I don't think it was particularly close. Famously, that Carter Nelson was in that class as well, but Caleb, I think, was the best player in the state. And you don't have that burden, quote unquote, if you go to Iowa or Minnesota or Wisconsin, because somebody else was the best player in the state. And you've got 10 other guys that were the best player in the state. And the best player from the state of Iowa probably is on the roster as well. So people in Iowa are more focused on that guy than they are on Caleb Benning. Like, there is just a huge difference in how we process the information we hear about these kids. And it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's just not. And that's okay. But it's also, back to your point, really important to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, is this something you're prepared for? Like, is this something you're ready for as a high level recruit coming out of the state of Nebraska? And I think it takes a lot of self-awareness from the university to have that conversation. And it takes a lot of self-awareness from the kid to maybe say, yeah, I think I'd be better off somewhere else.
And I think that's then what hurts the most, is it's a double-edged sword, because on the opposite side, because this is what this conversation turned into. And I was fascinated by the fact that this Feldman Freaks article comes out, and immediately Husker fans don't point to the fact that there's nobody from the Nebraska roster on there, but they point to the fact like, oh, look who slipped through our fingers. Look how good that they are out there. And I don't struggle with this. I know Mike doesn't struggle with this either, that you root for Nebraska football, but I root for the kids no matter where they go.
Yeah,
like, whatever
be
success they
successful.
have, whatever they're doing, I don't care like where they go. I want the kids to be successful. But I know that that's a unique position because I cover how I cover.
Yeah.
Like, I go to high school games. I get to know them.
Your fandom for the state goes past the university.
100%. And I think you're kind of in that boat too, but I know that obviously you have.
I would love it if Devon Jackson was here, or Devin Jackson was here in Lincoln. I would love that. But if that wasn't the best thing for him, I'm glad he's successful somewhere else. Right. Same thing with Kate Piper. Like,
gotcha.
How dare you? Like, I'm really, like, if you're going to go develop as an offensive lineman, Nebraska in 2021, 2022 wasn't the best place for that. No. You had no idea what that looked like. I think they've done a much better job of that in the last few years. But if you're in his shoes and you're like, hey, I've got an opportunity to go to this place that I know develops linemen at a super high level, I'm going to go to that place. That makes a lot of sense, especially when, like, Kate Piper and Trace Thaden were not like ready-made prospects. They were developmental prospects. And so that's a part of this equation too. Like, you come into a place where you have a reputation, whether it's a Iowa or an Illinois at this point, I think has a great reputation for it. Wisconsin back in the day, Minnesota, I think has a good reputation for these things. Minnesota more on the defensive line than offensive line. But if you have an opportunity to go to these places that have a reputation for not only developing guys, but also putting them in the NFL, which I think is a big part of this equation for people as well, then yeah, I understand how maybe Darian Jones is a great example.
Oh,
Donovan's little brother.
Yes.
And that's a guy
Great
that
example,
Nebraska
yes.
wanted badly. Nebraska, like, it came down to Iowa.
It was close.
It came down to Iowa
Yes.
and Nebraska, right? Like, that's not one that they.
If he grew up in a neutral site home, he probably is wearing red.
It's a bigger surprise that Donovan plays for Nebraska than that Darian went to Iowa.
Yes.
Like, let's be clear about that. But, like, that's a guy where he's going to have a very different experience at Iowa than he had at Nebraska, or than he would have had at Nebraska, or that Donovan's had at Nebraska for that matter. But if you're in Darian Jones's shoes, you're a two-way player, you're a great special teams player.
Yes.
Let's just leave it at you're a defensive back who is a great special teams player. Like Iowa makes a lot of sense
Yep.
in terms of your future development.
They've gotten a couple of Jet Award winners
in a row.
They have sent a couple of DBs to the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean, in the recent
Cooper DeJean, you got Cade Weechant. Like you look
it's
at these,
very easy to see the path for you to success.
It is a very clear path of saying, and that's where Nebraska needs some guys to get drafted sooner rather than later. I think he will. And Andrew Marshall gets drafted this year. Then all of a sudden you've got something to point to.
Yeah.
Right now, Nebraska doesn't have much to point to say, hey, look at this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think a lot of players have gotten a lot better over the last few years. And you see some guys, whether it's, Deshaun Singleton being with the Chiefs, or Emmett Johnson going from where he was to getting drafted and being an All-American, or I brought Luke Reimer up the other day and getting him onto a NFL roster.
You're not going to have to wait too long till Luke Lindenmeyer is going to be the local kid that gets
Luke
drafted.
Lindenmeyer. I count Nate Borkature as well. I get that he finished his career at A&M, but he got to the point where A&M wanted him because of Nebraska. And so, you're starting to get some little breadcrumbs of things if we can point to this guy and say, hey, this is our developmental story. This is the path we want you to take in order. You come to the University of Nebraska. We know how to get you from where you are right now to the NFL. And there's just not as many of those at Nebraska currently as there is at Iowa or Minnesota or Illinois or some of these other places. That's where this current class, I think, really needs to help Nebraska out, is by having the older guys that are finally in their third and fourth years in the program. We've talked about that a ton on this show. Guys that are finally in their third and fourth years of the program, getting to the place where now they get drafted and you can say, look where they started, look where they ended up, look where you fall on that line. You're right about here. We can get you to there too.
Yep.
Right. And I think that will make a huge difference. I think that's why you're starting to see some momentum in the 2027 class. And I think you'll see that momentum in the transfer portal and in future high school classes if this season goes well, not just from a team perspective, but from an individual perspective. I've said many times, I think if Elijah Pritchett has a good year, I think he's the first 2-round draft pick. And if that happens, it's much easier to say to guys like Tree Babalade or whoever else comes through the transfer portal. Maybe
I'll tell you right now, recruitment class wise, Barrett Kittrell, I don't think he wants to tell you how close the Iowa recruitment was.
Sure.
I mean, when you look at all the Iowa linemen that are going through, when you see a guy like that's Cade, that's a guy that's not necessarily from your neck of the woods, but is from your state that's having the much success as he did, and you build a relationship immediately with your assistant coach and Jeep Wade, makes it a lot easier to commit. And obviously, I get it. Like the Kittrells, they've got the family ties. They're generations of Huskers. I understand that. But a lot of these kids are thinking a lot bigger picture than that.
Yeah.
And they have to. You can make generational money
100%.
in 5 years and not have to worry about making it to the league to make your money.
So that's the biggest difference now versus, and that actually I think is a big help for Nebraska because you don't just have to point to the NFL talent now. You can say, hey, look, we brought Elijah Pritchett in. This is what we paid him. And he's going to probably make it to the NFL now, right?
You want both?
But
why not both?
Yeah, look at what he made in the meantime. Let's say something horrible happens. Knock on wood. Hope it doesn't, right? But if something bad happens to you and your NFL career gets sidetracked, look at all this support you had from the University of Nebraska and our boosters and everybody that supports this program. You're still set up so well for the rest of your life because of the opportunity you had at Nebraska that maybe you don't have some of those opportunities at places that are a little bit better at this point of getting guys to the NFL. But even outside of local guys, right? Like a couple guys that I think Nebraska was in on that they just hadn't had enough success yet. And I'll say on offensive line, like Jackson Cantwell and Dave Sander.
Dave Sanders is one, yeah.
Where I think if Nebraska had been better earlier, I think Dave Sanders is a Cornhusker. I genuinely believe that. Like DB talked about being on the visit with them. Like I think they've really liked it here and just couldn't get themselves past the point of I need to see a little bit more in terms of track record.
Yeah, and this isn't some novel concept that we're just coming up with and we're like, oh,
no,
wow,
this is
the light bulb. I mean, Tim literally said it, I think, last week on, was it Thursday that he talked about it? And I think he legitimately just said, Nebraska has to win more to get
like
X,
Ahmad
Y, or
Hudson.
Z recruit. Yes, Ahmad Hudson is the perfect example.
He goes, hey, if they win 8 games, I think Ahmad Hudson's going to be a Husker.
It's as simple as that.
I think I'm summing up, but I think that was basically the sentiment of what he said. And so you've got guys that win other places where now all of a sudden, if you've got an Elijah Pritchett going to the NFL and you've got, let's say, Tree Babalade has a good couple years and goes to the NFL and Paul Mubanga goes to the NFL. Justin Evans, he wasn't a transfer. So I was
okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
Talking about transfer guys specifically. But let's say you have those 3 guys go to the NFL. all of a sudden, if Dave Sanders isn't happy or if Jackson Cantwell isn't happy, guys that you had good relationships with that just didn't work out, you can point to them and let's say they want to go somewhere else. You go, hey, like, I know we had this conversation before. We've won a few more games now. And look at what we did with Elijah Pritchett and Tree Babalade and Paul Mubank. Like, it just,
instead of a you up call, it's more of like a, hey, look at this. Look at how many things we can do for you.
Yeah.
And you know us already. You're already comfortable with us.
Instead of being like aspirational and like you're going through college and you're like, listen, I'm working 2 jobs right now. I've got some things I got some things brewing. You're 10 years down the road and you're like, hey, I've got a good job. Like I've got, bought my own house. You become less of like an aspirational project. And that the girl is kind of like, oh yeah, I kind of like you, but like, what kind of life am I going to have?
Instead of a come rescue me.
Yeah.
It's a
we
let's
can
work
support
together.
each other.
Yes.
Right. Towards the goal of winning football games and getting guys paid and getting to the NFL. So I think that's going to be really interesting moving forward. And hopefully this time next year, whether it's guys from the state of Nebraska or guys at the University of Nebraska, and hopefully both, this Bruce Feldman freaks list looks significantly different.
I'll say this too, that freaks list, if that 21 class or, all those 3 guys that were on there, because they're the athletic freaks, imagine if they were just in the 20, like even now, if you took those 3 names and you said, hey, they're in the 24 class and they, had same careers at the same schools, all that sort of stuff. I think Rule has a not only interest in them necessarily, but I think that they become more interested in Nebraska because that's the type of player that he's been looking for. And that's even from the beginning. He's shaped a little bit and changed and metamorphosized a touch in his recruitment because now he's going after the higher profile targets. But that doesn't mean that that's changed from what he did originally. It was, let's get the most athletic type of players we can, transform them into the best version of a football player, and then send them off to see what they do. And that's what he's always done.
Yeah.
He did that at Temple. He's done that at Baylor. He's produced NFL draft picks that way. And he's doing it again here at Nebraska. We're hopefully going to see the fruits of that labor coming out here soon. But I really do truly believe that if these guys that ended up on this freaks list that were all, in-state Nebraska natives, had they had the chance to be recruited by Matt Rule, I think that it would have been a very symbiotic relationship with all 3 of them.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it would have been, I would guess at least one of those guys ended up in Nebraska. I don't know who or which one, but it would have been
I don't think he would have let Devin Jackson out of the site.
Almost impossible. I can't imagine.
I don't think he would have watched him get a pick 6 against Kearney at Brick Stadium and been like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
Corn Raider, to answer your question, yes, I do think Grant Bricks falls into that category and to the Carter Nelson category of more development required than fans understood. And I think if I remember right, it was reported that way at the time. Like, yes, he's got great, I think Tim talked about it, got great physical tools, has to kind of learn how to be a high-level college lineman at the power conference level. I also think to a certain extent with Grant Bricks is you're talking about, and I don't know, obviously we haven't seen much of him, so I don't know if his development is going well or not. I can't speak to that. What I will say is he's kind of in that Sam Sledge category of you're sort of waiting in line at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
God, I've been on the biggest Sam Sledge hype train for some time.
But
I can't keep buying enough stock.
You're waiting for your turn. And I do think it is telling that up to this point, a lot of these guys have been willing to wait their turn. That to me says something about how they're being developed and about the conversations that are being had with them.
And under some new assistants too.
So that everybody's on the same page. But I think it's I think it'll be really interesting to see guys like Grant Bricks and Sam Sledge see what they look like if they continue to see this out, because I do think there's an opportunity for them to be really good still.
I agree. I'm with you.
Shane's done working for the day. It means we got to go.
Well, he knows that you're on a tight schedule to get to St. Louis. So.
I got a little time, but it's okay. I was going to keep talking to you, but it's all right.
No, I like that. That was a good way to end.
That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We will be back on Monday. To answer us a couple questions in the chat real quick, we are still going to try and get DB on at some point. The fall camp schedule, he actually just sent me a screenshot of his schedule. The fall camp schedule is insane. So
of course, naturally.
We are going to still try and get DB on at some point.
Let's also be clear. It's a good thing DB's busy.
Yes.
Right? Like,
we don't want him.
That's a good thing.
We don't want him to just be like, hey guys, what's going on?
He's actually, my schedule's completely open. I have nothing going on. I would have concerns.
I would have follow-up questions. But no, it's we are still going to try and get DB to kind of give his thoughts and final sign off for the show. But it's just the timing of the fall camp schedule is pretty brutal. So just an update there. That's Austin. I'm Ravi. We will be back on Monday with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.